Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Darren After the Credits, number 63. My name is Darren. I'm joined by my good friends Taz and Darth. Hello, guys. How's it going?
Hello. How are you?
Welcome. Yeah, no, I am good. You know what? Like all day or like these last 2 days, I've been like, I'm feeling better. I'm talking better again, and I am like comparatively to the last couple weeks. But
Yeah.
like 5 minutes before I started streaming, my voice started to go a little hasty, and I was like,
Uh-oh.
God damn it! I was so close to having a good talking stream.
Come on, man.
Um,
Hot water, lemon and honey. That's the cheat code.
we're going on 3 weeks. We're going on three
Yeah.
weeks of this sickness, but we're at the end of it. So hopefully, by the end of the week, we'll be good. Hopefully, by Daredevil, I'll got nothing.
Yeah.
Just back to normal.
But I
But
mean, the fact that you made it through shows that you truly are.
Hey.
I made a mistake giving you control. Of this.
All right, that's it. That's my one. That's my one.
No, I mean, I'm really excited this week. I'll be honest. I've been really psyched all week for that Invincible premiere tomorrow. I have been so jazzed to seeing not only that comes out tomorrow, but there seems to be so much love for it. It seems like there's so much promotion, so much love that I haven't seen for like an upcoming Disney Plus show since like
The
the
Daredevil
early
premiere.
shows, kind of, like Loki and WandaVision, stuff like that. So I'm really excited, and we'll talk about that later on in today's
Yeah.
episode. But no, I mean, we have a fun show today. Obviously, we have new episodes of Reacher and Invincible to talk about today. There was a new trailer for a show that me and Darth cover that we are going to be watching here shortly. And then I don't know if you know what that is or not, Darth, but and
I
then
saw.
okay,
I haven't seen the trailer yet, but I saw.
okay, cool. And then at the end we will do some predictions, final theories, stuff like that for tomorrow's premiere of Daredevil. So that's the rundown of today's episode. Let's go over some of the comments. Thank you everyone who's chatting with us today. And Comfort of Strangers says, like good evening.
Hey.
After Credits crew. Hope that everything is good. I hope you're feeling better, Darren. I'm close. I'm really close. Hope by next week we'll be there. Hello, Taz. Hello, stranger. Hello, Comfort of Strangers again. Hello. I hope everyone's doing good tonight. We are doing good. Thank you so much.
Yes.
This week's episode of Invincible was insane. It was insane. It was shocking, if you will.
Yeah.
Naruto has.
It was electrifying.
Oh
Jinx.
yeah. Question: would you be okay with them bringing back the OG Daredevil opening, or do you think that would be lazy? That's a really good question. What do you think, Chaz? Do you think they should bring it back, or do you think it should?
I would like them to bring it back. However, the fact that it is considered a brand new show, it is Born Again season 1. I would say that they're going to do their own take on it.
Yes.
I just really hope we don't run into the like accusing them of using AI issue that we ran into with like Secret Invasion and stuff, because think about how the original Daredevil open is. And think about how closely you could like just say, AI generate a new version of this kind of thing. I really hope they don't do that. I hope that they stay true to the ideals and themes of the previous open, but make it something fresh, something new, and something to, I guess, set the tone for the revival. But, again, still pay homage to that original open.
It's tough because I consider that to be one of the best openings to a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Ever. It's so good. I definitely want them to do something new, but inspired by the old. Like, definitely keep the like blood dripping down mystique. You can do the whole like the body of Daredevil and through the city. Maybe just make it more expansive. Like maybe it seems like a larger city, or like do some new visuals that make it okay. This is clearly a new opening, but inspired by the one we know, and obviously that very iconic music. We know they are. They used it in Spider-Man. They used it in She-Hulk. They used it in Echo. they're going to keep that magical theme that they've kept through these years. But yeah, no. With that being said, I think we're just going to hop into our first thing today, which is Darth. They dropped the official trailer for Doctor Who season 2 or 15 or whatever you want to call it. I'm really excited for this new season. I'm excited to see what they got cooking up. It seems like the stakes have risen. I haven't watched this trailer yet, but it seems like maybe they're raising the stakes, which should be fun.
Honestly, I want them to do more with Maestro's family. I don't know if they are, but like the Doctor's dealt with gods, aliens, monsters of all varying shapes and sizes. I would love for him to deal with the core components of the universe. Do you know what I mean? Like say like a Galactus that is is morally ambiguous and is necessary. Do you know what I mean? That you can't necessarily stop through heroic action. You just have to kind of get out of its way and deal with what's left.
Yeah, Maestro was one of my favorite episodes from last season. Like I thought that was incredible, just like how they did that episode and how scary they were. Like they were a terrifying villain, and how they used music as like a core component, like as a threat to the Doctor was sick. I like that a lot.
Jinx.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's check this trailer out. I'm excited. It comes out in April, so not that far off from getting some new Who. So yeah, let's check it out.
There are forces beyond this universe.
Oh, of course, there we go.
We think we are so clever. But we're like children.
Oh.
These vast creatures look down on us. Our entire reality is in danger.
So what's your name?
Just the Doctor.
All right then. I'm called the nurse.
There is something already connecting us.
I'm an ordained Anglican Marine.
This is a time machine.
Boom.
I am not one of your adventures.
You need to get me home.
This might be the wrong way round.
Okay.
Oh, Scooby-Doo.
Honey, I'm Velma. You're meant to voyage out there and own it.
We're just popping in.
Girl, you are beginning to enjoy this.
Welcome to the Interstellar Song Contest!
Oh, we're so staying.
We're staying.
I love a good show.
So the games then.
I'm beaming at you.
Whoa.
The games are deadly.
Tell a story.
Aren't you scared? Why? Because it likes the taste.
I promised that I would keep you safe.
You can't.
I can. I will. I do. I will take you home. That is a promise.
All right. It really looks like they're utilizing that budget. There's like a lot of like CGI and special effects and big monstery type things that are very exciting.
It looks like
amazing,
if Legends of Tomorrow got a massive budget.
That's
that's what I'm getting from that.
I mean, when Legends came out, they called it like DC's Doctor Who, so that adds up.
I always get nervous when I hear beyond the universe. Do you know what I mean? Like, as somebody that used to crave multiversal stories, I now get nervous because that can mean anything. You know.
Sure.
That being said, I do like say for example, we had the connection of that woman that was the robot on the same planet that they're showing that she was connected to as well.
Sure.
The even when the Doctor has like a wibbly wobbly timey wimey thing going on, it can be layered in a tapestry of them. Do you know what I mean? Like you'd have like a whole picnic blanket of these interactions going around at the same time, and he's none the wiser, you know.
Sure.
Kind of like that the bootstrap or grandfather paradox. I forget which one. I have to double check that we were dealing with before with like Mark and stuff in Invincible.
Yeah.
And that he was dealing with in that Christmas episode. And that it's interesting how his life like intersects with itself, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really curious about the whole companion thing because this companion looks very fun. She looks like someone who doesn't necessarily want to be there at first. So I'm curious how they're going to weave that into the plot. She said she's a nurse. Do we think she's like an actual nurse, or do you think it's just like a nickname?
I think, excuse me, sorry. I think it might be to do with if she was a part of the parish, like they were soldiers, priests, and probably nurses as well.
Mm,
I don't know, honestly, or at least that could just be her trying to like show her sense of humor in the trailer. Them trying to show a sense of humor in the trailer.
sure.
I love that she's back. She's a great companion.
Yeah.
Really, really funny. It's nice when they go like legacy, you know,
Sure.
show us that they remember who helped get them there.
Right. No, absolutely.
You're
Yeah,
right
somebody
though. They have gone so much bigger and better with.
It looks like a very
uh,
cosmic season. Like it seems it's a lot of space, like other planets and space stuff, which is
Yeah.
great. Look at this shot. This is crazy. Has there ever been an animated episode?
Animated. No, they did animated specials.
Right.
And the only animation has been like bad CGI.
Right.
So that it looks animated, you know, like back in the day.
Sure.
But no, I don't think so. Like an animation crossover. No, I don't
Sure.
think so.
That's cool. I do wonder what's going on with Ruby, because Ruby's in the season, but doesn't seem to be the main companion, at least not at first, right? So I'm curious. Maybe it kind of seems like a Martha season, 4 of Doctor Who thing, where like she's involved in the story, but she's not like.
How do you now feel about the end of the last season? Now that you've had time to stew on it, like how do you feel about it? Right, because there was a whole mysterious thing about the power of Ruby's mother and who could she be, what could she be, like everything was shutting down, like the universe was bending around what she was trying to get done.
Sure.
But again, it's just that she's an ordinary person who loved their kid. Jimmy, like that's great, but we have a universe of those, and it don't always work out that way. You know,
I think I do remember being a little disappointed, just being like, "Oh, that's it. All right." You know, I didn't hate it. I thought like that scene where she's like talking to her dad and stuff was so sweet, right? It was so. Yeah. Oh no, mom. So, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But, so do you think then that wasn't really the answer? Do you think then
there's more?
This is going to be more unpacking as to we thought it was this, but it's going to be this. You know,
I'd be.
I would like that. I would. Yeah, I like because the Doctor has been quote unquote wrong before, in choice of companions or, in how far he will go and things like that, and sometimes morally, but he usually sees the bigger picture. Do you know what I mean? Like it takes him like most of the episode, but he usually has that kind of like moment. I would love for that to be the case, but then him still only seeing a fraction, you know.
Yeah, no, and again, like I'm curious, like because what is this? Like, there's this shot right here. She has a little. Oh yeah, some kind of creature behind his back. So it seems like it might be some kind of like supernaturally episode. So again, I'm so curious how she gets like reintroduced into the plot of the season.
Well, to be fair, she hasn't really gone anywhere. Like with some of the other companions, like they go off until like a special or crossover when they're back in it. and then it shows some of what they're up to or have been up to. They've made sure to keep occasionally throwing her in to show that while she is
Yeah.
taking a step back, she's not out.
Sure. Which I'm glad about because I think she was one of my favorite parts of last season. Like I thought
100%.
like their chemistry was already at the top of my companion list. The very short list that I have to work with so far.
Oh, there she's at the top, is she? Because she's not top for me.
Okay.
She's up there,
I mean,
but she's not top.
sure. You also have a lot more to play with as well. I have like
Yeah, but
5.
one of the people, my top is who you already have.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Donna Noble is untouchable.
Yeah.
The chemistry that David Tennant and Catherine Tate had, and Catherine Tate being the comedic genius that she is,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just no opposition.
fair.
And then the depth of her episodes,
Mhm.
yeah, crazy. But yeah, no, Ruby's great. Ruby is good. Ruby's
Yeah.
really, really good. But
It's hard to rank them because I don't like. There's no one I dislike so far. Like I love Rose, I love Martha, love Donna. I'm on Amy right now, Amy Pond, and she's already like a classic.
Amy's good. Amy's
Yeah.
very good. Yeah, she didn't take no shit. But the Doctor, and Gawa, I think his name is. I'm just butchering the hell out of it, but phenomenal actor, absolutely making the character his own after so many people to come in and do so is a tremendous feat. Honestly, it gets harder and harder every time, and to not have it be a parody or clownish in any way. It's all organic and genuine and true to the character.
Sure.
And again, he's in a pantheon of legends, and
Yeah.
he deserves to be there, 100%.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He's like him and Tennant are my favorite so far.
Mhm.
I think very
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
I'm wondering because like I do wonder if he could become my favorite Doctor, only because he's the only one I've watched live. You know what I mean? Like this is my first time
Uh-huh.
watching it live and talking
Yeah.
about it each week. I could see him being like, "Oh yeah, this is my real first Doctor." But Tennant, man, like again, I recently
bawled like a baby when
oh
he
my
left.
gosh,
That whole I don't want to go. I cried like a baby. Cried like a baby. There was no. I wasn't ready for him to go. I didn't want him to go either.
no,
Still don't know how to process it. You know.
no,
But
absolutely.
here we are.
Like again, I'm on Matt Smith right now. He's great. I'm slowly getting used to him, but I'm still in that phase of like, you're awesome, you're great, but I miss David Tennant. You know, I still got that in the back of my mind, but I'm excited
Oh,
for me
you
to be
will.
like,
You will. Yeah, you will get past that because he again holds his
he's
own.
good.
Like
Yeah,
he has some of the best speeches in the whole series. Like there's a point where, if I'm not mistaken, he basically meets God, or for all intents and purposes, like a real like God or some shit. Like there's just this shape in the universe, and he's just standing there giving this big lecture, this big speech. And you just again you just buy all of it because the the character is so like grandiose and just insane and intelligent and just can wreck the universe but chooses to save it every time, you know.
sure.
I love Doctor Who. Doctor Who's so cool.
It's really fun. Yeah, I'm excited to finish this season. But yeah, we're gonna jump into our first show. I don't want to spend too much time talking about a show Taz hasn't seen, but we're gonna be jumping into another show Taz has not seen, which is Reacher.
Another one.
Another one.
Uh-oh.
So I mean, yeah. So Reacher episode 4. We probably won't talk too much about this episode, but what did you think? What did you think of episode 4, Darth? How are you feeling on Reacher?
I really liked it.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it took me two tries to watch it, mainly because I was hosting quite a lot this week on my time off.
Gotcha.
But once I actually sat and paid attention and gave the episode the true attention it deserves, it was very, very good. Very, very good. It was full of exposition, which happens in Reacher is fine. We know how to deal with it. I feel like given the timeline of the flashback and Dominique, that it's before the Super Squad that we got last season.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's funny because we've got the oldest Reacher yet, but we're supposed to be seeing like super young Reacher in the army. Do you know what I mean? It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
Because that is clearly not who it is, but it's okay. We can look past it. Yeah, like again, not loads happened this week, but right, that old man cop finally brought up my grievance of last week of like just how many bodies are dropping.
Yes.
Like finally somebody said something. It's like the Eternal statue. Do you know what I mean? Like it took like a whole too long for this to be brought up. How did you feel about it?
I really enjoyed this episode. Yeah, I think this was probably my favorite of this season so far.
Oh, interesting.
And maybe this is a critique on season 3, and I don't mean this in like in a negative way, but I almost liked our cast of characters in the past more than in the present. Like his team there with like Dominique and Jonathan, I think his name. Like those characters are so instantly lovable, which is the point, right? You're supposed to like gravitate towards them instantly because you need to feel bad for them when they die, right? That's the entire point. You need to have that emotional connection. So we're like, oh, this guy needs to go down. That's the whole point. I think it does that very well. Like it's really funny because she is almost just like the female Reacher, right? And just like how his mannerisms and how he acts and stuff like that. So it's very easy to be like, oh, this lovable little thing, it's so cute. But no, I thought it was great. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Like you said, not like a lot happened outside of setting up the emotional connection, which was again great. But that was most of it. And then we did some stuff at the end to set up next week's episode, I guess.
Yeah. Which again, like more bodies are gonna have to drop. I can only assume that the old man is gonna sacrifice himself for the young female cop. Like there has to be more, Jimmy, because like he said there was a bunch of higher ups above him, like top brass that were all a part of it. And I don't know, I just feel like this has to be like tied to it. I mean, obviously he's still not getting blueprints, but just using the shipping lanes for drugs. I mean, like when he was a national traitor for selling, like he had like homes, he had Jaguars. I mean, he had like a whole bunch of stuff, $500,000 in the bank. Like all of that. I don't know. It just feels like that would be a step down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm curious because like Quinn seems to be like our main villain, right? He's like the big bad. And despite them killing off this like beloved character, I still, and they have time, obviously, but like even in that scene, he doesn't seem very threatening so far, in that little scene we had. So I am going to need them to establish, yes, he killed this woman, but what makes him so powerful? What makes him so dangerous to be put on this high of esteem? That's what I'm going to be very curious about.
Yeah, see, like they spoke about his psych evaluation from being in boarding school or whatever, or childcare. And then there was like the narcissistic personality and all of that. And again, that just seemed like why he's creative and why he's angry. But again, like you said, there was nothing threatening about him. There was nothing too charismatic.
Yeah.
So, like, especially with his like resting bitch face, like he looks angry all the time,
Yeah.
right? So like he's really gonna have to like flash the pearly whites and put on like the whole big old smile and charm people to even get that far. Do you mean? Because a quick pop on the head and he was gone. Like it's his his ruthlessness, you know, kidnapping the daughter, taking the ear, showing that he has no compassion or empathy or even care that his actions are wrong, or maybe even a process in some of them that they are wrong. You know, just thinks that he's right the whole time. I don't know. Like I said, there has to be something else. Because where do they go, Jimmy? After this season, what do you do with him? If there's nothing that you find out from this, like, oh, it does go higher, and I have to use my skills, which are highly valued in both civilian and military life, on the military, which like trained me and made me who I am, you know, then it's just gonna be them throwing up like, hey, did you know this person was in Reacher's life? They're back. Look at them go.
Yeah. Like this is something we kind of talked about this week, where it's like the gimmick of someone from Reacher's past will get old eventually. Like we've now done that 3 seasons in a row where we have either used someone from his past or someone has done something, like dug something up from his past to use it against him. I do want next season to be like someone new for Reacher. You know, someone that he's never interacted before, and he has to be like, well, all right, you know, like who's this freaking guy?
So would you have it then like completely fresh, and be a whole new action against him, or would you say like say for example I said a minute ago, and then have it come off as a consequence of this? So like to find out it goes deeper, for example. Like which would you prefer?
I'll be curious because, like, from my understanding, like these are based on the books, right? And from my understanding, each book is kind of meant to be almost their own thing. It's like you can almost pick up any Reacher book and just read that Reacher book, you know, very much like a James Bond kind of thing, where it's like, oh, this is this James Bond, you know that kind of stuff, like very Doctor Who. But I mean, I'd be into that. It could, yeah. They could.
Like, because even James Bond ended up doing, like, sequels, didn't they? Like, I'm pretty sure the last 3 were tied together somehow.
Sure. I mean, maybe. I mean, you know, it's not like we haven't referenced the past couple seasons this season. Like, Neely's still involved and stuff like that. So, anything's possible. I'd be curious. Again, curious to see what the longevity of a show like this is. Because it could go on for a long time. But you do have to keep it creatively fun and fresh and original.
How do you feel that this season, especially, there doesn't seem to be any people that are just great guys, you know? Other than, like, the older chap, maybe the younger chap, but he's just out here trying to prove himself.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody that you're like, they are like 100% on the side of good.
Sure.
You mean? Because like, if we were talking like comic, I know we're talking about comic books, or whatever, but like we're talking about like Superman or something like that, he wouldn't be taking the guy that's just hurt. Like, say for example, someone's just crippled Jimmy Olsen. You know what I mean? He's not taking him then to the back of a radiation plant and then just lasering in the back, and you know what I mean, and then just chucking him into the river. You know what I mean? He's going to take him in, follow the procedure, you know? So, like, Reacher is the hero, but at this point, he's becoming, like, a vigilante.
He is, yeah. Like, I kind of had that feeling this week where it's like, how many bodies can he drop before he's no longer, like, a morally good person? And I don't have a problem with that. Beck killed, or Beck? No, not Beck. Quinn. Quinn killed his partner. Kill him, whatever. I don't have a problem with that. But we're still portraying him as this like morally good guy. And it's like he just tried to shoot somebody and push him down a cliff. Like that is not, what I think of when it comes to like a morally sound person, So that's definitely interesting. I think his death number has gone like double than what it was like last season, which is interesting. And like they even like address that, being like, yeah, your death number is getting up there. Like you have to like chill out. You can't just kill every person that's against us. So maybe that's a plot point for later in the season. Maybe it's not. Maybe I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, because like he said, like he does stuff to strategically to make sure that he's not charged or implicated in it. Do you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
like using his own gun against him, which is why he's in this goddamn mess in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if he followed procedure, had him arrested, right? It might have been like a Lord of War situation where somebody knocked on the door in 30 minutes and said, okay, this man needs to be released. It might not have. Or if he stuck to his conviction of why he was killing him in the first place and shot him with his own gun and then followed procedure and went to jail for not that many years. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a military jail. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be different, a little bit harsher, but less sentencing, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because he's needed for service. Do you know what I mean? Like whether he'll still be able to serve, I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. But the point is because he's gone against everything that he believes in and the code that he's supposed to follow.
Yeah.
He's just constantly having just things just come at snowballing, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now you've got other people making really bad decisions, i.e. the cop lady threatening a poor young woman, just tried to goddamn exist, and has now most likely gotten her killed.
Yeah. Yeah, and like we're also with like he's undercover this season, which I'm really enjoying that like motif. And we have Zachary Beck, like the man he's working for. I am wondering if we're going to try and like redeem him, right? Because it seems like he's not really that bad, but just pressured to do these bad things by what's his name? Quinn, right? Yeah, it's just being forced to do all this stuff by Quinn. So I wonder, because like every time he's with Reacher, he seems like a chill dude, and it's almost like he's not that much worse than Reacher at the moment, who's just like taking people out and stuff like that. So I wonder if we're gonna try, like we end the season not sending them to prison, but getting them away from this evil mastermind and stuff like that, which could be kind of fun.
Okay, well this is the thing. How, again, like as a victim of coercion, how far does it go until?
Sure.
Like, where's the line? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Does it have to be like 70% stick and 30% carrot, or does it stop being coercion when it's 50-50? Do you know what I mean? Or you've been doing it for so long that they're like, okay, well he knows the deal now, so we can give him 60-40, but he knows when that 40 is coming, it's turning into a whole 100%, so he's not fucking with the 40.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So like at that point, you're giving him more benefit than threat. Do you know what I mean? So if anything, you're just paying him for his service now. Do you know what I mean? But he still feels coerced to do so. So like, where does the morality line come into it? Or stop?
And why are you falling into submission? Is it really for the safety of your son? Is that really all of it? Or is it also because of your money? You're afraid of losing your money and what you've worked for. And if that's the case, I think that's a harder sell to be like, he's a good guy. It's like, well, he was just afraid to lose his cash, Like, I'll be curious. Because, yes, we know he son got kidnapped and stuff, but...
That's the other question, right? So, he's obviously got rich from his rug business and a criminal enterprise, right? So, would you say then, like, you would be happy if they said, right, you have to give up everything, your mansion, your business, everything, but you get no jail time, but you're going to live in Motel 6, right? Or would you say, like, unequivocally, he has to go to jail? Or, like, where would you land on him?
I'd be open to that. Like, I think that could be a fun little arc for him, because he said that he hasn't been like happy in 15 years since his wife died, and like if it's like a little arc for him of realizing like, oh, I'm not happy because I haven't spent time with my son in years, right? His son keeps going on about my dad doesn't care about me, like whatever, and like as cliche as it is, Reacher sometimes is very cliche with his like messaging. It could just be like, hey, just live a normal life with your son with not all the money that you've gained, or just take the money you've got via this, this industry that's gotten it. Like, you can only keep money that you had originally or whatever. I'm not police. I don't know how all that works. I don't know how that would go down, but I'd be down for that, because again, he does seem like at least he wants to be a good guy. Like, he doesn't, like, when we started the season, I thought he was going to be so much worse. And it was like, oh, he's not that bad. You know what I mean? So, I feel like this season we've seen Reacher do worse things than him, which is kind of funny. Yeah.
Mine's my one and only.
Yeah, I mean, again, this was a very straightforward episode. I don't have much else to say. It was fun, some good jokes. It felt like, I think the first half felt very Reacher season 1 to me. Like, small town, more intimate, more character driven stuff.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. Oh my God. The second I saw that newbie earlier, like, I was like, why is he hanging around in the office? Why is he there? Like, I was thinking he was going to be a spy or something, but no, it's just that he was the red shirt of the week. And it was also nice to see Reacher with his boss, with the person that, like, where he got some of his rules from. I think we might have seen him before.
Yeah.
In season 2.
And yeah, we have. And like, it was really nice seeing like the reason I fell in love with Reacher was just like, he is a good guy. Like, I loved every bit of him being like, hey, if we go out to drinks, they're gonna think there's something more, which will ruin your career, and doing all these things. And then him being like, no, it should be you to catch this criminal, for you can go up the ranks. I know how bad the system is. They won't thank you for all the work you've done, so you need to like all of that stuff. I thought was just like fantastic. I thought it was great. Like, him helping the kid as well, being like, all right, don't turn your back, get her flowers, not roses, don't take her out dancing. Like, that stuff was really cute as well.
I know, I'm so annoyed though, like, how he passed, like, because obviously he went to protect her, and then if he just trusted her, she might not have, like, perished. Do you know what I mean? If those two went, like, if he didn't have that, like, hero complex, and he went in as, we're 2 soldiers going in to get another soldier, we outnumber him, we just have to be careful when we got this. Do you know what I mean? Then it wouldn't have been a problem. But he went in, dick in his hand, thinking, oh yeah, like, I can protect her. And then both of you are now dead. Well done. Congratulations.
Sure. Yeah. It also sucks, we think, to like see it happen, right? Like, it's done off screen, which I guess that would be my only complaint, is like, I guess I didn't fully feel the weight of their death, because it just kind of shows up and they're dead. You know what I mean? Which I know Amazon not going to go too like dark with it. Like, it's not going Daredevil or Boys, but like, it was like, oh, they're dead. Okay, now I know what has happened. But I don't know if I fully felt the weight of that scene. But still very fun episode. Still really good. Moving on here. I just final thoughts on Reacher.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go on.
No, I mean, I was going to transition, so say your like final partings on Reacher.
Okay. Just that, again, it was an essential episode. I feel like they kind of play it like a long movie as opposed to an episode basis. It was great. It was really good. It was nice to see him bonding with the staff and giving the the grumpy one, the snub. That was great. Like it's chock full of like great little moments because while there are logical leaps that one must make, like the fact that no one could smell the ocean on him last week, like whatsoever, drove me goddamn crazy. But here we are, you know.
Sure.
It is filled with like amazing moments that draw you in and make
Yeah.
you care about it. I'm more concerned whether they find the girl they're looking for than if the female cop makes it out of this. If I'm honest with you. Not a
Yeah,
fan.
I think that is the big issue I'm running is like that little squad is so just like boring to me. Like they're just like they're just there and like the ending is like, oh, are they gonna live or die? And I'm like I like rewatched that scene because I was like, wait, how did it end again? And I was like, oh yeah, all right.
Okay.
they're not gonna die.
Right. Now we're at, I'm sorry, Taz, right? But now we're at an interesting point now, right? So would you, right, because we both said our criticisms for season 2 and how we didn't like the team, right? But as much as I didn't like season 2, I prefer that goddamn team to the team we have now.
I agree.
So would you do you like the fact that they've made kept a distance from season 2, or do you think like it would have made sense that like while they're trying to do the books, he could have changed it and like gone, oh, I've dealt with this guy before. I did it alone. It didn't go too well. Let's light up the bat signal, you know? Because like everybody loves him. Everybody loves him. They would have been there in half a day.
Yeah.
Especially with Neely paying for everything, for God's sake.
Like realistically, yes, he should call his team and be like, "Hey, I need your help. Let's take this guy out." I mean, I do. It's rough because I agree. I do prefer the cast of last season. I think that cast is more interesting than this cast, but I prefer the intimacy we're getting with Reacher. Right? Like I think I like him going out on his own, playing commando, doing all this stuff, and then every once in a while being like, hey, I found a clue, come help me, or whatever. What up, Jose? So yeah, no, I like it's gonna be interesting. I'm curious because we're already halfway through the season. So we have 4 left. I just kind of like final partings on it. Like, how long do you think he's going to be undercover before they either figure him out or he reveals himself?
So I think we've got one more episode before Reacher reveals himself to Beck and says, look, I'm your number 2, but I'm after who your boss, right? Like you said, you can live with the kid, I don't care. We're not here for you. We're here for the big fish, right? But you're making shit difficult for me and I don't want to shoot you, okay? I've already bent up Angel Doe in the car. Let me not find another boot. All right. So yeah.
Yeah.
What are you?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think end of episode 2, either he finds out or he tells them, and then you'll have the final 3 of like unweaving that trap, in whatever direction it will go.
So. Do you think, like, what are the chances of like revelations on high, or do you think that Quinn is going to be the be all and end all?
I have a feeling Quinn will probably be the top dog, to be honest. Okay. But we'll see. I mean, again, like I have no problem. Like I think your pitch is really good of being like, okay, this is a larger mystery that we carry over to next season. Because you're right, there's only 4 hours left. There is a lot of story potential to continue. At least, maybe not all these characters, but at least that organization that they're fighting. Like I think that's a really good idea. Or even a couple seasons like down the line, if I know, oh, he wasn't the top dog. It's goes higher or whatever, could be cool. But
see, the thing is as well is, sorry, again, I know we're trying to like move on.
You're good.
But like as much as Quinn / McCabe is careful, right? It only took two people's efforts
Mhm.
to unravel his whole operation the first go round.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I understand that there are more people now, but like he has a whole FBI thing on him now. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? So there's like a whole bunch more resources, a whole bunch of people doing this, that, and the other. So it should have been even more easy. Do you know what I mean? Like it's back to what we
Mhm.
said earlier when we don't feel the threat of him, but
Mhm.
also like how intricate all of this is doesn't make much sense either. Which
Yeah.
is why I'm waiting for something else. Do you know what I mean? Because if it's just him, it doesn't make any sense.
Sure. Yeah. Like they have to show. Honestly, maybe not a whole episode, but maybe half an episode of seeing things from his perspective, right? Seeing from where he
Mhm.
dropped in the water, how he got back into it, how he rose back into the ranks. Or we might have a season 2-in-1 situation, whereas as much as I love season 1 and I thought season 2 was okay, I think the show's always had a villain problem where I can't be like, yes, this iconic villain from season 1. It's like, don't remember that. I just remember the cool things Reacher was doing and his supporting cast and stuff like that. So like I'm waiting for Reacher to be like, oh, this really, really well done villain. And I haven't seen that from them yet. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think as we kind of transition into our next show here, I think my pardoning thoughts on this episode is that Dominique was indeed not.
That is dark. That is dark. That is dark. Oh my god. That poor woman was strung up and
Yeah.
tortured. Like she was certainly not.
No.
My goodness. She died an American hero.
I was like, should I do the bit? Maybe not, but I'm gonna go for it. But yeah, let's start with you, Taz, for this one. Invincible, episode 6. We're in the final 3 episodes, which doesn't seem real. It feels like we just started.
Yeah.
We really did just start, which is makes me go down another rant of why they released 3 episodes out of the gate in an 8-episode season. But,
yeah. So, okay, we could talk about that later. But this episode was amazing. I really loved it. I think what made this episode almost better post-watch were all of the memes yet again. The fact that we literally got the greatest title card drop of all time in this one, where they just kept just popping it up during the Powerplex speech. I thought that was great. I thought the fact that they drew it back to the end of season 1 in such a great way. And the fact that Powerplex's family was legitimately there. It's not like this is a part of the city that you didn't see or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, this was a big thing. This was front and center during, Mark's fight with his father. And the fact that it caused this guy to go down such a awful route, and it ended in a way that I think we all kind of expected as the episode ramped up. I was like, okay, I was literally just waiting every time his powers go on the fritz for him to injure an innocent person or hurt his family or whatever, but he literally cooked his family like a piece of toast. It was brutal. And he still blamed Mark for it at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So
I love that meme of a guy that shoots him. He's like, "Why did Invincible do this? This is crazy."
Yeah. Why would Invincible do this? He can't keep getting away with this.
I saw that meme clip before I saw the episode. I thought it was really in the episode.
Oh, really? It should have been. It should have been.
I was waiting for it, because it would have fit perfectly in there. I was like, oh, that's a fun little reference. And I kept waiting for them to do it, and it never happened. And I did end the episode slightly disappointed, oh, it was a fake meme. Oh, that sucks.
No, but it was such a good episode, man. It really was.
Shout out to Aaron Paul for his performance because, again, I love Invincible. It's great, but I sometimes feel with the voice cast outside of the main ones, like J.K. Simmons is great, and all that fun stuff. But sometimes with the celebrity casting, sometimes I feel like they're there because they're a celebrity and not because they're like a good voice actor or blah blah blah. And again, I don't know if he's a voice actor.
He had range.
He I think is one of the best celebrity actors that we've seen.
And you just saw his slow descent into madness.
Yeah.
Like he tried to approach it from the most, I guess, practical way, or the most like legitimate way that you could, is like, okay, I want to, start a case against, Invincible for, the destruction of the city and stuff like that. And it just slowly devolved into just madness. Something else that I thought was pretty funny was, I don't know if you saw the memes of, it's just like, okay, Powerplex destroying downtown. Meanwhile, William, and it's just like clips of bowling, like Wii bowling or something like that. Like they were just bowling the whole time, and he's like, yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of if any others would top it for me outside of Omni-Man, obviously. Yeah. I think Powerplex might be my favorite Invincible villain so far.
Really?
I think so.
Really? I hate him so much.
Oh, really? Do you hate him because, like... Okay, but is the reason you hate it the reason I love it? Because I do think he's a very compelling villain in his, like, narrative.
Oh, yeah, no, he's...
Okay.
He's interesting as hell.
Okay.
Which we're going to be getting into, like the depths and motivations of his character. But, just like all of that shouting, like, well, you gotta pay, bruh. And then, like you said, like, Taz, like, you're just out here cooking his family. Like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Well, I think that it served a purpose, and there was a point to it, is because in the beginning, you could definitely be on his side, say, hey, he has a point. Yeah. Mark has to,
I'd argue he's right.
atone in a way for what happened. Like, yes, it's not Mark's fault, but he should bear some responsibility, and I think that is a whole theme of the series in general.
The season, yeah.
It is the fact that Mark as a Viltrumite is so strong, and he can cause so much collateral damage that he could almost do more harm than good, and that was such a big thing back in season 1, and a big focal point of that fight with his father, basically showing him how just like fragile humanity is, and how they could basically just like huff and puff and blow the house down. Like it is that easy for them to destroy an entire city. And the fact that we had this guy who obviously wasn't maybe the most stable person to begin with. He lost, two very important people to him, and it just sent him down an awful path. And I think it just shows how, yes, at the end of the day, Mark as Invincible tries to do what's best, tries to do the right thing, but it also kind of explores the same sort of thing as, like, the Sokovia Accords, if we want to, go the Marvel route, or, post, exactly, Batman vs. Superman with the fallout of Man of Steel. So this, I think, is their take on it, and showing how that affects the people of the world. And we have the sort of like remembrance event and everything like that. And I think we got a very interesting perspective there too, where, after Mark and Eve and Oliver like took down the elephant guy, and they kind of had that little conversation, and Oliver was like, well, do you think the world will ever forgive Dad for what he did? And that whole conversation and an interaction there, the fact that Oliver remembers his father as, just this genuinely nice person, because again, he has that, those genetics from the bug side of his DNA, that he can remember that kind of thing. But obviously the people of Earth will more so remember him for the destruction that he caused rather than all of the lives that he saved. And I think that they brought up a very interesting fact there too, is like, yeah, maybe he did save more people than he killed, but it's still really hard to balance that out. And I think that that's going to be such an interesting dilemma if and when Nolan does come back to Earth. Like, how will he be viewed by people? How will he be viewed by Oliver? How will he be viewed by Mark? How will he be viewed by Debbie? I think that those are all perspectives that we're going to get to see.
Yeah, I do really just love the concept, and especially from the perspective of a child, where it's like,
Yeah.
do the ends justify the means? I guess is like, how many lives do you have to save before you can justify the lives that you took? Right? Is there a number? Right? If, and this is all
And
hypothetical.
the innocent lives, not just like he was a hero that killed people. Like, no, he killed innocent people for no reason other than the fact that he could, and to prove a point.
Yeah, no, it's a really and what I love about this is that Mark doesn't know, right? Like, Mark doesn't have the answer because he also wants to buy into what Oliver is giving him. He wants to be like, no, well, maybe someday, maybe, like, at the back of his head, he wants that. He wants his dad back.
Yeah.
But he cannot fully submit to that temptation, not yet, at least. And I'm curious, like, because again, that would come really full circle to what Cecil is doing right now, right? What is Cecil trying to teach right now? And that's about redemption. It's about like reinstating these people.
Yeah.
Would Cecil be okay doing that to Nolan? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, would he...
Is that a line too far? Like,
right.
Has he really crossed more of a line? Or, as we got teased at the end of this episode, is there going to be a sort of threat, whether it be this or something coming in the future, that is so great that Cecil and the rest of humanity will have to put their differences aside and once again allow their fate to rest in the hands of somebody who took innocent lives the last time he was on the planet?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I'm glad we're here, right? Because this is one of the things I wanted to discuss, right? Because, like, already, even if you don't account for the threat that is coming, right? And you just think about the amount of lives that Nolan saved, including the Flaxen invasion, which could have easily just crippled the whole planet. Do you know what I mean? And they would just had to keep nuking cities because they would just keep coming through,
Right.
So I'm not saying like, oh, he saved so many people that he should be allowed to kill 2,600 odd people, right? But I'm interested that at what point, like say for example, because as well, the interesting thing is his age, right? So and how he ages. So at what point does it stop being on the planet to be the ones that forgive him? Do you know what I mean? Because like enough time would have passed that nobody alive would have been affected by it. Do you know what I mean? Like, at all.
Right. It would just be a piece of history.
Yeah.
So, and I think that you bring up a very interesting point too, is because think about the perspective that Oliver has. He didn't have to live through that. He didn't have to see what happened there, So maybe, and that's probably part of the reason as to why he sides so much with his father. Not to say if Oliver wasn't around that he wouldn't have sided with Nolan over Mark if given that choice, but the fact that it is history to him, I think that proves that potentially, maybe they're going to go with the sort of, time heals all wounds sort of thing. But, morally, can you ever forgive him, or at least can you ever trust him again? Because just because he says, hey, I'm here to help, just because he does save thousands, millions, billions, of lives, does that mean that he won't just turn on Earth when he gets a better offer?
And like, who is it on to forgive him until it's like too far gone? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
because it is on Powerplex and all of the other people who is affected by the lives taken and the damage caused, that like have a collective say in forgiving and forgetting. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I
Super random side tangent really quickly, just because this reminded me of it. If you zoom in on some of those names on the memorial, they were like random, like funny names. I think one was like just Josh or something like that, and like some other
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
names. Yeah,
We had an amazing laugh at that. Yeah,
yeah.
It was.
What are some references on there to like writers or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just like random
bread.
things.
Good bread was on there. There was something that was close to like Ian's in the attic or something like that.
Yeah, just like just random stuff. Just like, you know, next time you go through and watch it. Yeah, just next time you go through and watch it, like look at the memorial and just kind of like zoom in and look at all the names.
And a lot of them are repeated. They literally copy and pasted the names.
Hell yeah.
It's literally okay. So this is the thing. It's like every week there's like one thing that they do very badly, and you've got to spot it like an Easter egg.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think that that's like a mistake sort of Easter egg. I think that that's 100% on purpose.
Lazy.
Potentially. I did see some people
no. They
have...
writ like 20 names. Sorry, I was speaking right, but they writ 20 names, right? They hit Control A, Control C, and then just put Control V until that space was filled.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with that either, because if you're looking that close at it and looking to nitpick that, then obviously we don't have, you know, big problems.
No, it's not nitpick. It's like, say for example, it's nice things. Do you know what I mean? It's appreciation.
I think it's funny.
For it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. No. Because like I do it out of interest. I don't do it so I can nitpick. Like I'm nitpicking because it was a bag of shit. If it was good and it was like the creators behind the thing, then I'll be using it as a plus. Do you know what I mean? Like I do it because I like that stuff. Like with like Spider-Man's like good for doing it. Like DC projects are quite good for doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But this one is just shat the bed. I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
I don't know how much we've already talked about it, but like I do really like us taking a minute and going back to season 1, because I don't know if you really ever fully addressed it. And like that's the whole point of the episode, where it's like Mark was like, I never really thought about all the other families that were affected by this. Like, yeah, I noticed it, but my mom and Cecil, and I was so distracted on my own self-pity that I never really thought to think, what about all the other families that were affected by my dad's death? And again, I think that's so well contrasted to Oliver's argument about like, yeah, but what if he can like redeem himself? And like, what if he could, you know? And I think that's like, he is seeing it firsthand why he can't do that, why he can't let himself go there. And I think that's so sick. I think that's so cool. And I think that's going to be a big point for Mark's arc this season, and why he took the stance he did, right? You know, like episode 1, you know, episode 2, why he stood up to Cecil, because he's like, no, these types of crimes can't go unpunished. They have to be fully realized. Which I just think is incredible.
Yeah, I do too. I really like, I think going back to that attention to detail, I think is really the best way to put it. Like they are really going hard with that, drawing back to, you know, season 1 stuff, drawing back to season 2 stuff, really feeling that, you know, slow burn culmination of an arc, really showing characters growing and changing and learning. And I think that that's an issue prevalent so much in shows where characters just stay static for the longest time, but you can see static. You can see the large changes between Mark in season 1, Mark in season 2, Mark in season 3, and imagine where he's going to be in season 4, 5, you know, beyond that. And think about just like how much even Oliver has changed, at least seemingly, from the beginning of the season to now, you know. Look at characters like we completely missed, it's not missed, but skipped over this so far. Rexplode, like, dude has had a crazy sort of like redemption arc. We were right as far as, you know, where they were headed with him as well. But I don't know what I think about him potentially leaving the superhero life.
I loved his dialogue this week.
I did too.
He really had, like, I felt like we were really diving into like Homecoming stuff, where it's like, this life is all I know. I was literally born to do this. And then I had the like Homecoming quote in my head where it's like, well, if you need this, if this is all you have, then maybe you shouldn't have it, right? And I think we're kind of poised with a decision of like, maybe you need to let it go to find who you are, to find what you are fighting for. Because if you don't know what you're fighting for, that puts you in a very dangerous situation, right? Your moral compass is then at stake if you don't know what else that you're fighting for. I feel like it's very Spider-Man, right? It's very Spider-Man 2, where he had to take off that suit for a while, take an introspective deep dive, and be like, oh, that's what Spider-Man means to me and the world.
It's also made him the perfect grunt, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, they literally made him the ideal soldier, like, just in a superhero suit. So, if he does want to continue what he's doing, I would say just carry on. Do you know what I mean? Like, just make the best of the bad situation. You know what I mean? Same with Logan. I mean, the guy had amnesia, and then just carried on rocking. You know what I mean? Just treat it as the same. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, to actually fulfill that purpose, like, he would have to try, like, a lot of stuff to know what he truly would want. Sure. Otherwise, it would kind of just be a case of, oh, I'm trying what's convenient or in front of me. I mean, it wouldn't be truly living for what he wants. It would just be existing at that point. Sure. So then he'd be sacrificing what he feels is his purpose to just existentially exist. You know, that's not a great trade-off.
Yeah,
I would be curious. Oh, sorry, Cass.
No, it's going to be all hands on deck next week. That's all I'm going to say.
Sure, and like, I do think it's interesting because like I loved Eve's journey in season 2, especially where it's like, okay, I'm not a superhero, so what else can I apply my powers to make the world a better place, right? Eve can do that. I think Invincible can do that. I love these characters can do that. What could Rex do with his abilities that could benefit outside of the combat field, right? It's very combat-based powers. You know what I mean?
He can like dig tunnels. And,
right, like go on a construction site and be like, all right,
mine for diamonds. I don't know.
I don't know if we discussed this before, but as we know, we got a reveal, right? There are certain characters back. So one, I have an issue with the timeline of where Mark was just left alone on an asteroid for goddamn 30 years, because that wouldn't have happened given the reveal. Do you know what I mean? So like someone wasn't thinking too far ahead in the story there. Second, if you make your like a life-altering decision and change your character based on a conviction that you've had from a situation that you believe to be true, right? But then get disillusioned of that notion by way of the reveal, would you then stick to that conviction, or would you rethink everything?
Let me answer.
Like,
I think you lost me a little bit.
Thing. Yeah, Mark's whole kill, right? So,
right,
like,
right. No, I understand.
Fighting Angstrom. I'm helping Darren.
Yeah.
Sorry. Right. So, his whole like conviction of since fighting Angstrom and Immortal, like being pushed into the corner of I got made to do it. He told me he was strong enough, right? He is like he's following a path now, right? He is Dark Mark at the moment, right? Yeah. He's going down a whole way because of what he believes to be true. He's then going to get a reveal that while he fucked the guy up, he's back, right? So, do you think that like he should stick with the convictions of what he thought to be true,
Sure.
or do you think he should rethink and reevaluate his life?
He should aim for the head next time and make sure he's dead. Is
Yeah,
what he needs to do.
it is very interesting because you're right. He is coming back to a mark where he is more valid now than he was last season, right? He's taking a slightly darker turn. And I am curious how Mark is going to receive him being back. I think you're 100% right. I do think it's very weird, and I think it's just because he's like not mentally well right now. Like he's not, like Angstrom is not in a good. I don't know if he even fully knows what he's doing, but I do think it's really funny. His whole thing was like, I need to take you down because you are evil and you will destroy the world. Very Steel, like, okay, I can kind of get it, but when you are then taking the even
evil more Mark, evil,
right, and
the
like,
worst,
no.
like the worst. You're getting the worst marks of the multiverse to then go fight the best mark.
The whole reason you started this in the first place, right? These are the guys that you were mad at. These are the ones that killed you, your doppelgangers and your wives and these children and the Hitler version and like.
Well, I think that's kind of the point. Is that shows you how badly his brain has been scrambled and how much he, I guess, does and doesn't remember. All he knows is that he absolutely 100% despises this version of Mark Grayson. Right. So maybe in his twisted mind, this version of Invincible, this Mark Grayson, has done all of the things that all of these other Marks have done, right? So he doesn't even maybe grasp that. So he just thinks it's just our Mark that has done all of that kind of stuff. So then that's why he's bringing in the, multiversal, council of evil Marks to then, take on our Mark. So I'm thinking also it is going to be an absolute bloodbath this week. Mark's going to have to murder a bunch of different versions of himself.
But then here's the interesting thing. Is this now officially Mark's fault, right? Did doing what he did at the end of the season put Angstrom at an even worse place that will have got people killed? Will Powerflex, right?
Yeah.
Will he be kind of justified in his hatred now of being like, see, this is your fault. You did you did kill all these lives because of your actions.
Powerplex is still Mark's number 2 hater. Angstrom Levy is definitely number 1 Mark hater. But it is an interesting. Yeah, it is an interesting perspective to throw in there, right? Is should he have tried to kill, or, whether it was on purpose or accidental, should he have killed Angstrom to begin with? And I think, in all honesty, the answer is yes. I think, Angstrom was kind of out of control. He was, Mark had the opportunity to stop him from doing anything else in the future. And for all intents and purposes, Mark thought he had killed him and gotten rid of him at that point. Was it the morally right thing to do? Maybe, maybe not. But was it justified? Yes. However, now the fact that
should he be punished for it? If it's justified or not, should he, just because he's wearing a suit, does it mean he shouldn't be in jail?
I think you can almost draw the comparison of how many lives did he save by killing Angstrom.
Yes, but
he saved the lives of his mom and his brother by killing Angstrom in that moment.
Right. Okay. I'm
so
glad you said that.
I would say it's at that point, as Joey Quinn would say, it's obviously self-defense.
Yes,
right,
but I think
but
okay.
Hang on, sorry.
Go ahead.
But Nolan was saving 9 billion lives by killing those 2,600 lives in his eyes, because of the Viltrum Empire coming to just eradicate everybody. So, do you know what I mean? Like,
I could definitely see. Right, I can definitely see where that argument would be coming from, and I think that's how Angstrom is going to justify coming after Mark with the alternate Invincibles and starting the Invincible War.
And I think this is, I think, the whole point of this episode. I'm really glad we ended back here. Yeah. I think the whole point isn't, is he justified, is he not? It's that he's not being put on trial either way, right? Like even if he is innocent and that's what needed to be done, no one's keeping him in check, being like, hey, let's put you in front of some judges and seeing if you were really justified. I think that's Powerplex's whole thing. That's where he started, being like, just because he has powers, he's not being treated like the rest of us. Just because he has friends up there that are protecting him, that means all of this that's his fault, in his mind, they're his fault, are not being justified. And that is fascinating. Just because
he's going to be proven right, and he's going to be proven right this week by having 15 or 20 mark variants just coming in and just causing as much chaos as possible, most likely killing innocent people, potentially killing other heroes, and obviously causing a big global catastrophe.
Yeah. So, I have heard.
Will those deaths stay though? Will they stay dead?
I mean, whoever they
kill, as the show struggles,
I would say yes. Especially if we're going comic book route.
Oh.
Any deaths will be very big and very permanent.
I have heard a theory that I kind of like that could be fun, where people are like, well, Powerplex hates Mark, right, for being this killer. Maybe let Powerplex out and let him kill some evil Marks that are going to be causing ruckus.
That would be funny.
Like, if you hate me so much, kill those ones that are actually evil.
Go kill those. Yeah, go kill those Marks. That would be kind of funny.
I don't see how they don't, right? Because they need him. They need all the big hitters of the planet, right? Because if Armstrong's bringing even 5, he's bringing like 7 of them, if not more, right?
Yeah.
He's bringing like a whole bunch. We only have one Mark and an Atom Eve that can even...
And Oliver, come on. He's like, halfway to a full strength of Viltrumite at this point.
It's like getting your ass kicked by your big brother. Like, he's just going to get destroyed.
I don't see... And again, Taz knows the comics. Taz may know potential way they do this. But, where I stand, I don't know how they would win this fight. Right, Mark hasn't been able to beat one Vulture Knight, and I know it's ultimately him around his strength level. But some of those seem like full grown. Like one had Nolan's mustache, right?
Yeah, so mustache Mark. Hold on, actually, let me pull it up because I saved it the post from actual Invincible.
I saw that they named every Mark.
Yeah, here let me pull that up. Send it to the group chat, and then you can pull it up.
Let me read some of these comments really quickly, because some people sent in some comics. Comments, not comics.
Yo, send us some comics if you would like, for sure.
Yeah. Won't say no to that.
The Stranger said, which is interesting, because if you go back, I forgot which episode. I think it may have been episode 4. Oliver killed someone. He justified it, and Mark said, "You sound like your father." 100% true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really pay attention, but I wonder if some of those names were Peter Parker, Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent. That would be funny if I had some little...
I looked. I didn't see anything like that, but I wouldn't put it past them.
No.
It would have been cool if they just had, the cast of the show. So you just have, J.K. Simmons and...
that would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know what's nuts? I'm mourning the loss of the Mauler twins more than I did Shrinking Ray when I thought she was gone.
Oh, really?
I love those guys.
I didn't like Shrinking Ray until this season. This season, she feels like an actual real character.
Yeah, she was kind of just there in the previous 2 seasons, but she's actually gotten some really good development this time around. Oh, also...
Ooh, okay. Sorry. So, as you know, Taz, there's a whole arc in the comics with Monster Girl, right?
Yes. And Robot, yeah.
That goes a whole way. She's just been, for all intents and purposes, cured.
Yes, which I think could potentially be a start to that. I know they did things a little out of order, and it had a lot to do with the Flaxans, and they combined the whole Flaxan invasion into one episode versus spreading it out over, I think it was 30 or 50 issues where they just popped up randomly. like here and there until it finally came to a head. So it's something that they could potentially do, or I would honestly like to see that as a special presentation kind of thing, like they did the Adam Eve episode. So Robot and Monster Girl get their own little hour and a half special. Because, like I said, this story takes place over a long period of time.
Mm-hmm. I am worried, and I know, Taj, you have more information on this than me, but just me going off on my perspective and what I know right now, I am worried that it might be a temporary fix, right? I'm worried that she's going to be using her powers a lot more now because she knows she can. What if it catches up to her? I'm worried something will happen and it'll malfunction or whatever, and all these uses will kind of take effect at once. Something will happen. It's like, oh, you overused it. Now you're a baby. Just kind of.
Now you're a baby.
Now you're just a baby. And that having to be something we deal with. Because it seems too good to be true. You know what I mean? It seems like it's too good of a thing. So I want it to be, because I want her to not be a baby in 2 seasons or whatever, not be like a cell or whatever. But, I mean, and there's even been the theory she was a monster with all these stuff when we saw her in the future. Me and Dorothy even talked, maybe she goes full monster, she just stops being girl because she can't risk the back and forth anymore, or getting any younger. So
well, I think something that you would have to do is go back to the end of season 2 where we saw the future versions of everybody and see, did she have the belt or not.
Let me
also, that scene is very, very important.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up
for future reference. That's all I'm gonna say for that. You pull up the all the alternate marks, but I did want to answer Darth's question about the time travel thing. I think we learned the rules of time travel a little bit earlier this season with the future King Immortal episode. While they said that it took a while for them to time travel, get Mark out of there, all that kind of stuff. Whatever happened was supposed to happen the way it happened. So Engstrom was always supposed to survive and come back to present day to fight Mark. I don't think he...
Yeah, but then in that timeline, he'd have seen he weren't there and gone, right, where were we?
What were you saying?
He got stranded.
Right.
Do you mean? On the place that he killed Engstrom.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so in that timeline, quote-unquote, yes, he got stranded, and then our future versions of the Guardians made the device to send Mark back to the main timeline. But that is an alternate reality that he was in, or an alternate timeline that he was in, that he was always supposed to get out of, if that makes sense. Yes, in a branch of that, there was a 30-year gap where there was no Mark, but that's a separate timeline, a separate universe at this point, because our Mark was always meant to come back to his original timeline.
Sure.
I think that's kind of how I'm trying to justify it.
While
it seems like it was...
You're having to justify is my point, because it makes no sense. Right.
A little bit,
because as long as I'm sitting here not just pulling shit out of my ass, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it if it's okay, there's a logic leap here. It's one of the paradoxes things. That's fine.
I think it's again the same sort of thing as trying to justify Flash time travel, trying to justify Avengers time travel, and it's really tough to figure out what came first in that sequence of time travel. We were trying to justify the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man time travel. That's kind of confusing too if you try to break it down and think about it. It's it's the Back to the Future conundrum, I guess, is really what it brings it all back to.
Guys, you should have been here for Loki. Loki season 2. Every week I was like, this is awesome. And Darth was freaking out, being like,
but it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't care, I love it.
Yeah, at this point with time travel, I'm like so over trying to explain it. I'm just like, let me turn my brain off. It is what it is. It doesn't matter what came first.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can sit there and nitpick it, but also, you know,
Also,
at the end of
Dr.
the day,
Who
it
as
doesn't
well
necessarily
have
matter.
that, where it's like, wait, if this happens here, how did this happen here? And how did this come here? Like,
there is a lot of just you wait. There's more time travel. Just
oh god.
you know, and also think about the fact that different planets time moves differently as well.
That is true.
Oh my god.
But Taz, do you wanna
Wow.
you wanna help us and read through some of these names?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So huge news today. We can confirm that we've cast an award-winning actor for the following 18 roles. We have Cape Vincible, Sport Vincible, Prison Vincible, No Goggles Vincible, Flaxincible, Mohawk or Mo Insahawk, Hair Vincible, Goggles Vincible, Cape Vincible, No Maskable, Maskable, Mustachable, Hoodincible, Omnivincible, Viltrumincible, Bulletproofable, Light Blueincible, and Stripevincible. All played by the wonderful Stephen Yeun. So.
Would have been funny if one was just like J.K. Simmons. If like the what is it, the Omnivincible, which is J.K. Simmons as Mark, like it's.
Do we think which one is it? Flaxen or Thraxen? The Flaxen one, is he like he got captured and then made into one of them, or like a clone of? Like, what
I
the
think
hell is that about?
it's an alternate Earth where Mark went through and fought the Flaxens instead of his dad.
Oh,
That could be cool.
Yeah.
I
think it would be funny if one of these Marks has no powers. Like the one in the, I think, what is it, Sport Vincible, with just like the sport coat. I think if he's just Mark, like he's like cosplaying Invincible or something like that, I think that would be hilarious. Like Mark goes and he like punches him full force. No, like he punches him full force and like just punches a hole in his chest like immediately. He's like, I thought all you guys had powers. Sorry about that.
It's very Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
With nice pool, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You're right. That is exactly what that would be.
Do we think one of these is going to be the one we saw last season?
Oh yeah, it's the one with the cape. That's I think they were calling him Sinister Mark last season. So that would be Cape Vincible, the first one.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Wait. What do you mean which one we saw? Because we saw the one where
I'm gonna at like start of the season.
He crippled Adam Eve.
Oh, yeah. Oh no! So then that wouldn't be that
like
one.
Blue Invincible.
Yeah, that was yeah. I thought you were talking about the one on like the screen where it was like, you know, we're coming after you. Don't forget, I'm invincible.
Yeah, but like I was just very because me and Darth talked last season about like, okay, because we thought that was going to be like the main villain at first, like, oh
yeah,
we are, you know, Mark versus that Mark, and they kind of collide, and seems like we're finally kind of getting that. I just hope, and again, I know it's in the comics, so it probably makes sense there, but I do hope they just fix this in a realistic way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to end it being like, oh, Mark should have died, or, you know, oh, these characters should be dead, because this happens a lot where it's like, I feel like when characters go evil, or like a version of our hero goes evil, it's like, well, he should just destroy the entire team, or they should like destroy him, because we've seen how powerful Mark is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be curious to see if they can kind of keep that.
But maybe that's kind of the whole point, is the evil Marks never got to the same power level as our Mark, no matter how hard they tried, for one reason or another. Or maybe being on our Mark's Earth, they're weaker for some reason, or I don't know.
And also, I think we might be. I know Darth was team Mark at the start of the season, but we might be proving Cecil right. We might be having a situation of Mark, this is why I needed precautions. This is why I put this stuff in place, just in case.
But again, he put it in the wrong Mark's head, right? So he still doesn't get proven right.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
if he gives our Mark some earplugs and then just starts playing that that sound, we can just clean house.
Right.
Yeah, no, for sure, but he would still be wrong. Because he put it in his hero's head.
Right, because he killed Angstrom. He could have very easily sided with his father. What happens if Nolan comes back? Could our Mark be convinced to join the dark side? Cecil has to consider all of these possibilities.
I do think it is interesting that, like, our Mark is the only good Mark, right? Like, in every single other reality, he goes
right, but this is
evil.
just 18. This is just 18 other realities. I'm
but
sure
didn't
there's.
They say last season that, like, he was the only good one? Didn't
I
they
don't
say
think
that?
I don't think they said he was the only good one, but like one of the it's more common for Mark to side with his father
Everyone
throughout
he's
the
encountered has
multiverse.
to be evil.
Right.
Okay.
Right. It's more common for him to side with his father versus Mark standing up to his father. I think is what the I guess statistic or trend throughout the multiverse had been up to that point.
This might
But it could also just be it could just also be Angstrom just like throwing BS out there and just trying to like get in Mark's head.
Get in, yeah.
Is making him think that he's the only good one and there's only evil Marks out there.
Sure. This might be stupid. Do we think one of them, do we think one of the multiverses out there is the comics universe? Do we think that's out there somewhere?
I would say no. At this point, in a very similar way to how Marvel Comics is supposed to be 616, and now the MCU is also quote unquote 616. Which doesn't make sense, but I think that's that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I think that the show is as far as we know so far, and as far as it's been going, has been very, very close to the comic books. Yes, there are some certain little, changes here and there. One of the biggest ones that I can think off the top of my head is actually they gender swapped Shrinking Ray. Ray was a dude, I believe.
Yeah.
In the comics. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So just little random differences here and there. But yeah, I think I don't think we would have a comic Mark.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I do wonder the future of, kind of changing subject here, but I am wondering the future of Team right now, because if
or whatever they're going to be called,
right,
untitled team.
Like we don't have a name. We're maybe losing two of our members. If
then it would just
leave,
be Robot and Monster Girl, which could then set up for their. Oh yeah, Bulletproof exists. I forgot about that. But he's been completely MIA.
Yeah, but that's not really a team. They're
no.
Just I'm wondering.
No, they're just like a ragtag group of heroes.
Yeah, because that was one of the things I was really excited for. I was like, okay, this is exciting. We get to rebuild our team, rebrand, go out there, and they're kind of just like hanging out this season, and they're saving people occasionally.
Yeah, I think the whole Invincible War is gonna bring the untitled teen team and the Guardians back together. They're going to forcibly have to work together. So then whoever's left, because again, we need all hands on deck to fight all these Marks.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm pretty sure Immortal's gonna get his head ripped off again.
Like how? Oh yeah. That's definitely happening.
I would just love all the Marks to just surround Immortal, and just be like, Who's immortal now?
Like, so my whole thing is like, how quickly will Mark go in for kill shots now? Do you mean because like he knows what's at risk, he knows who the threat is, he knows how
I
far
think
he can go,
I think instantly because they're alt versions of himself. I think
but he feels no way
in
about it.
I think in a weird way he would feel better about killing alternate versions of himself versus killing other people. Like think about in most forms of media how like people feel better about like killing aliens and robots and like, you know, alternate Earth versions of characters and things like that. I think Mark is going to think that same thing is, oh, they're out for blood, they're going for kill shots, so I might as well too. And I think maybe Cecil's going to give him that like go ahead, like, Mark, you can't hold back. Like, these are evil versions of you.
Right.
You know? I know you don't want to, but you're going to have to cross that line if you want to save the world, basically.
And I think he was kind of getting there last season when he was fighting those like Ultramites, where he was trying to hold back.
Yeah.
But I think by the end he was like, okay, my dad's right this time.
Yeah.
If I don't defend myself, if I don't kill them, they will kill me.
It is kill or be killed.
Right. Taz, you can't answer this because you know the comics and stuff. So this goes for Darth. Do we think we're going to see Nolan and Alan come in here, like in these next couple?
Okay, so I question how long this is going to be, like the Invincible War itself, right? Because there's the comic book answer and then there's the show answer,
right?
And while the, like, for example, the Thraxton thing took place over, like Taz said, a shocking amount of issues, it was handled in one episode, right? So something that could take a while could be handled by the end of the season.
Sure.
Do I want that to happen? Not even close. I want this to be drawn out at least a whole season, right? Because we, like you said, we got like 7 marks. 1 would be a problem.
Right.
We have loads of them. We have loads of bridges to build, loads of reconnecting to happen. So, yeah. I don't think they're going to come now, but for the Invincible War, yes. But if they make it by the end of the season, like, I'm just going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed.
I think that's what they're doing, to be honest. I have a feeling it's these next 2 episodes. But I don't know the comics. I think maybe, yeah. We'll see. Taz is like, I can't say shit.
I can't say anything.
Let's go back to Angstrom really quickly, because I did have some thoughts, and like, again, just as as a only show person, I don't know if I love Angstrom back, like being kind of the second villain for a season in a row, because I don't remember what we theorized last season. I think we both said that he would be back. Like, I think we theorized that he wasn't dead, but we didn't really care either way if he was. So I really think they're going to have to justify him being back and really dive into his arc and like what he's going through now. Because as much as I liked him, I didn't love him. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, it's Sterling
with
K. Brown. So
that's
like,
true.
We have the potential for some great performances.
I love him. Yeah, he's great.
Right. And another thing is, like, he has been fundamentally changed by absorbing all of the other variants of himself. So like we don't know how he physiologically works anymore. I mean, it could just be that if he has a cell left, that means like, one of the variants is alive. He's gonna start regenerating. You know, like he could be all different kinds of powerful.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
like there's definitely a lot of potential there.
In a weird way, I didn't love Angstrom as much as I thought I was going to last season, but I think I'm going to enjoy him a lot more with Invincible War. At least I hope so. I hope we get a little bit more like you said, kind of expansion on his motivations and how he survived. And, you know, I hope we open up the episode with seeing how he survived and him recruiting all of the different Invincible variants. I think that would probably be the best way to start.
How do you sell that? Do you mean, because like these have to be like the little orphan Annies of Invincibles? Because if they were all a part of a big empire,
Yeah.
then like, do you remember like the war that led to the Viltrumites being so few in number? Like that would surely be the case, because each of them would be vying for domination with their own empire, not like, oh, I want to start a multi-galactic empire of Viltrumites, you know?
Right.
So you think they'd all start turning on each other. So like, how on earth he got them to join his team to fight a solitary Mark?
You're right. And how will he keep them in line, not only following his orders, but working with each other? I think that's... Darren, you're still muted.
And what are they getting out of it too? Right?
Right. I almost can see a scenario where some of these variants kill each other.
I can see that too.
Like, I think that's how you win, is you get them to turn on each other.
Sure.
You know? Or potentially turn on Angstrom.
I can see it. Does Angstrom have to team up with Mark? Because like they're after me. You gotta help me. Stupid. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they play it out in the show versus how they did it in the comics. And there's still one more thing on my bucket list for this season that I will know if we're getting to it by the way this next episode ends. And that's all I'll say on that front.
With the mustache marks, are there any of them that grew up on Viltrum?
I think it's possible.
I don't know. Yeah, that would be interesting. But I'm not sure. But technically, if a variant of Mark were to grow up on Viltrum, would it really be?
It wouldn't be Mark, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If it was Nolan's son,
like Nolan could have just snatched him.
I mean, if it was still Nolan's son with Debbie, then yes. But if it was Nolan's son with another Viltrumite, like another Mark, but a full-blooded Viltrumite Mark,
right?
That would be interesting.
Like, maybe it's a reality where they're like I don't want to say crossbreeding, but like their mating rules are different and they're allowed to mate. So maybe Debbie agrees to go with him. They're like, oh, I found love on Earth. I destroyed Earth, but you're coming with me back to Viltrum.
Right,
and then they grew up there together.
Right,
yeah.
And they raise Mark on Viltrum. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I saw it was so funny actually. I saw a video that popped up recently. It was one of those channels that do like animation to like tell stories and stuff like that. But it was like what your life would be like if you were born on Viltrum or something like that. It was a really interesting video. Highly recommend it. I can't remember.
I would say as well that reality could be where Nolan accepted his destiny, shall we say, without revealing too much. And then that could have led Mark to have been born in Viltrum.
I see what you're saying.
I actually think it would be really cool if they did like a reverse of it, maybe. Of like, what if Nolan fully gave into the temptations? I was like, no, I'm actually not going to destroy the Earth. I'm like, this isn't what I want. And then they get to Mark. They're like, hey, this is your destiny. You have to destroy the Earth because you're...
And so a reality where Mark does
what Nolan couldn't.
Yes. Right. So where Mark is the one who destroys Chicago.
Yes.
Maybe
and Nolan's like, you can't do this. Like I trained you better. I think that would be
interesting too. That would be very interesting.
We need the Invincible like what if show.
What if Invincible?
I just kind of like as we're trying to wrap up here, like I am curious how Oliver's going to play into this because it was established last season. Unless he was lying, which makes sense. Oliver, this is the only Oliver, right? There isn't multiple Olivers, and I'm curious to see what all these other Invincibles are going to think about having a brother, right? Like, what are they going to think about that, and how our Mark turned out, and like stuff like that, right? Because it didn't seem like any other Nolan found his goat and escaped to the planet and did all these kind of things.
Well, because these are all evil marks. These are all marks that teamed up with Nolan. So Nolan had no reason to go seek refuge on another planet. Therefore, there's no reason for Oliver to exist in those in those universes. I think it would be interesting if the marks kind of underestimate Oliver and kind of are like, he's a little kid. He's not gonna do anything to us. And then he's like, I'm gonna treat you like I treated the Mauler twins.
I'm kind of because Debbie won't approve, but I am excited to maybe see a unleashed Oliver of someone being like,
basically like Oliver, don't hold back.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Or dude, like imagine like they're getting the stuff kicked out of them, and Mark turns to Oliver and is like, maybe this is where we get the point of where he's maybe like, you know what? Sometimes maybe Dad was right.
It just hit me.
Sometimes you do have to kill the bad guys. Like something like that.
Wouldn't it be insane? I don't think we're going this route. I think you're probably more right. But like if Mark's like, I will not kill these other Invincibles, I won't, or these, whatever. And Nolan goes to Oliver and be like, he's not strong enough to do this. You have to do it. You have to go kill these guys, and sends him to do all the nuts.
I think Eve is going to be a very important key as well.
I hope so.
Because I think for all marks, Eve is the weakness. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
Because even the mark that we saw that, paralyzed that version of Eve, he wouldn't kill her. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a good possibility that when Eve joins the fight, they will somewhat hold back as to not kill her, Or do you think also maybe their objective is not necessarily to kill our Mark, but to recruit him to then maybe team up and kill Angstrom? Like, I think going back to that point, like, why are they all working together? Why are they working with Angstrom? Maybe they agree to help him because they know they can't kill him on their own, but maybe with our Mark's help, they could. But also, what's the difference between 18 and 19 marks? Right, like, that's what I was going to say. What's the difference between 18 or 19 marks? So, maybe that's kind of a dumb theory.
No, because another thing that needs to be noted is that, like, the incredible proficiency of what's his name? Angstrom Levy and his power set. Right. They were flying through universes left, right, and center. Like, he has like an insane amount of control and could easily, like, like how the Spot, like when he just started becoming like one with everything, like kind of that level. So he could easily just destroy them.
Yeah. 100%.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Does anyone have any final thoughts before we move into our last little topic here?
No, I think I'm going to leave it at that, because if I say anything more, I'm going to say too much, other than I'm really excited. This is the episode that I've been waiting for, I think, for the entire season. I think this is going to go down as most people's favorite episode, hopefully. But we'll see.
Okay. Very nice. How about you, Darth? Any last minute theories or thoughts or whatever?
Theories, no. I've had some stuff spoiled by the comics. Like by YouTube, that's fine. Because I'm no less excited. Do you know what I mean? I'm just, I can't wait. I too am expecting just big things, and again, I need them to draw it out just a little bit. Don't rush it, because we've been building to this since last season, if not before.
Yeah.
So yeah, they need to just take their time, let it cook. You know.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
just
it is
show us
crazy that
why
this has been brewing since the beginning of season 2.
Yeah,
So.
for sure. Yeah, no, I'm very excited. I think I've got all of my thoughts and theories out, and I've heard it's going to be insane, so I'm excited.
Oh, I guess what is your favorite Invincible variant that we're going to see?
Ooh.
I guess that's the question. I'll leave it at.
Yeah, let me pull it back up really quickly. Just freaking looking at them all. I think it's mustache mark for me.
Same.
I just it's such a funny visual. That
Yeah. I'm either gonna have to go with Cape Invincible or Mohawk or Moinsahawk.
I like Mask Invincible as well.
That's funny.
Uh-huh.
Very
Yeah.
spicy. Yeah.
Omni-Invincible
Also,
kind of
I was about to say Omnivincible is
Yeah.
is up there as well.
it'd be great if like Mask Invincible had the same interaction with Agent Spider, and then that's when he's like, that's what I need my new costume to be like.
Yeah.
Just a full mask. None of this.
I mean,
goggles.
Yeah.
Omnivincible could be what I just talked about, like the one that took over for Nolan because he wasn't strong enough, or when it kills Nolan, takes his place.
True.
I like this one too. This one looks funny. The one with just like the big old blue head or whatever.
And bulletproof Mark, where he just
what's
the
that one
bulletproof
about?
suit. Yeah, well, because like Mark Hamill gave him the bulletproof suit originally, and he was like, nah, I want something different.
Oh, so it's one that took that one.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Alrighty. You did just send over something. I'm not gonna pull it up here, but it is good to know Starfire will officially be an Elseworld project, which is what I assumed. But I saw a lot of people that were like, "No, it's gonna be canon. It's gonna set up the Teen Titans movie." I was like, "Is it though?" Like, it sounded very. To me, it sounded very Cartoon Network.
And the interesting part of that too is Starfire is Elseworlds, as are most of our family animated shows. So that makes me believe that a lot of those shows that we talked about last week are all like intended for families, younger audiences, kind of as we were predicting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's an interesting thing too. So yeah, our family animated shows. Interesting.
So
interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think this is going to be very. We talked about this last week, but very Steven Universe, very Adventure Time, very. Which
something
doesn't mean
you'd find on like Cartoon Network or something.
I think
not in a bad way. Yeah,
because it was announced last year that like they were working on a new action adventure comedy for Cartoon Network from DC, and I was like, okay, we'll see what that is. I bet it was Starfire. That feels very and
probably in the same vein as like Teen Titans Go. Not necessarily like I would say that target audience, maybe not like
I think it's
that
a little
silly.
Higher.
Okay.
I think it might be again like I could see like a She-Ra, where like I don't know if you've seen She-Ra. She-Ra's
no.
Very like that show's really weird. Like I'm watching it right now. It's a very weird show because it's very like pink and bubbly and fun and kiddish. And then like the next scene will be like we're going to war and we have to deal with like genocide and these really deep themes.
Okay.
Like I think I could see it leaning on a Adventure Time as well, where like Adventure Time, a kid show, will get dark at times when the time sits in.
Or but like maybe the original Ben 10. I think that one was the one that could get the most serious out of all the different versions. But as the show went on, it got a little sillier and sillier.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a perfect example. Very episodic, very fun, but took itself seriously when it needed to.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of taking ourselves seriously, we are moving into our final segment. I already added the little logo for Daredevil Born Again.
We are born again.
Which this comes out, the show premieres in less than 24 hours.
Yep.
I cannot believe it. Daredevil is back. I am.
What is it? Two episodes that are dropping?
2 episodes drop tomorrow. Yeah.
Nice.
I am trying my darndest. They finished season 3 of Daredevil. I have 9 episodes to watch by tomorrow night.
All right, well, yeah,
So-
you got time.
Oh wow!
You got time.
We'll
What you
see.
should do,
We'll
what
see.
you should do is start exactly 9 hours out. So start at noon tomorrow, and then watch.
If
watch
I
all the
didn't work,
episodes.
I would do that.
Are you gonna be burnt out by the time it gets here? Like,
I hope not. I'm going to try and do a couple tonight, and then hopefully tomorrow before I go to work. Here's my fear, though. If it's anything less than peak, it's going to seem bad in comparison to season 3. Because season 3 is incredible, right? Like how that show ends is insanely good. So I am worried going from one to the other so close. I'm worried about
and that's the biggest dilemma too, right? Is I can't trying to remember back. We knew that season 3 was the final season going into it, correct? And they made season 3 as a bookend to the show. So it had it had, for all intents and purposes, a proper ending. It's not like we're reviving a show that didn't end correctly. So this is in a very similar way to, I've been on my Dexter rewatch, or my Dexter watch through. You had the original 8 seasons of Dexter. It ended at the end of season 8. I'm in season 8 currently. Very excited to see. Yeah, I know, dude. I have binged almost 8 seasons in like a month, which is insane. But I'm in season 8 right now. That ended, and then I think like 10 years later, they came back with New Blood, which was a sequel series. And then now they're doing a sequel to that sequel series, not to mention the prequel series. But I think they brought it back because people weren't satisfied with the way that season 8 ended.
Sure.
Whereas in Daredevil's sense, I think the general consensus is that season 3 was a really good ending for the show.
Perfect show.
But we just wanted more Daredevil. So are we intruding on that good bookend by bringing it back after all this time? And especially if they're going to go through with doing that rumored thing that's going to most likely happen by the end of episode 2.
Yeah.
Is it such a good idea to then bring it all back? I still think yes. Especially since they want Matt Murdock, Daredevil,
in the MCU.
Punisher, rumors of Jessica Jones and the rest of the Defenders as well. I think that it is a good idea for them to bring it back, but you will definitely see that argument from people, I'm sure, of the show should have stayed where it was, stay ended. There will be a bit of a divide between Netflix fans and Disney Plus Daredevil fans. I'm already foreseeing that as a future for us. I'm going to, love and enjoy both. I think it's kind of that Star Wars scenario of like, oh, the original was better. Oh, the prequels are better. Oh, the sequels are better. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people that are going to be like, okay, the show was so much better on Netflix. Better color grading, better camera work and cinematography, better storytelling, better imagery, all of that kind of thing. Or people that are like, oh no, I really like the MCU connections. I think, maybe the action's a little bit, different and more dynamic. Yeah, it's more comic booky. Maybe they go even more hyper violent with this on Disney Plus. Who knows what the distinguishing features are going to be? But there's potentially, and I think unavoidably, going to be that divide.
Yeah, I think, and this is what I'm like. This is what I am doing, and I'm advising everyone else to do this. Try not to compare them too much. Yes, they're connected. Yes, this is going to act like almost a season 4 in some ways. But don't go into this thinking this is just the same Daredevil we lost 7 years ago.
Yeah.
That's impossible. That is an impossible narrative. That's like going to an art museum and being like, I'm going to do Mona Lisa 2. And being like, well, no. That's one of the greatest paintings of all time. You can't do another one, right? Yeah. So I hope they lean into doing, obviously, connected, but doing their own things, making it its own unique thing, and we're already kind of seeing that. Like, he seems more comic booky, he seems more acrobatic. We're getting more like new cast members to kind of like, you know, make it feel like its own tone and vibe and feeling.
Right.
I think
hence
be
the
very
Born
fun.
Again, the Born Again title. I think
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes, you need to look at this not as a season 4, but as a sequel series, a revival, a brand new series that is continuing the story of these characters, right? So we still have our perfect 3-season, you know, gift wrap of the original Daredevil series. And Born Again is its own thing, and I'm very excited for it. Again, it's going to keep the, I guess, the spirit of the original show alive, but also, again, show us these characters from a different perspective and fit them into the MCU in a way that we haven't seen them before as well. And I've heard so many good things about this show so far, and like that it feels so much different from all of the other Disney Plus shows, that it actually has a real identity. Like it matters. It has a really good direction. They have a plan here for it. And the fact that they're already working on season 2, I think they're already filming season 2. We've already got, you know, an episode count for season 2. And the fact that most likely Daredevil is going to show up in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a big part of, you know, other projects going forward, depending on how popular this show is. But I think this is going to be the largest Marvel Disney Plus show to date.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah.
And
okay, so that being said, though, right? Like, it both is and isn't at the same time. It's like a Schrodinger's cat of prequels, right? How do you feel as people that have watched and enjoyed the thing that they're bringing back Foggy just to kill him? And if they've made additional cast members, are you hoping that it's one of those that bites the bullet?
So here's my justification for that. There were rumors, I guess, gonna speak freely as far as this goes. There were rumors before the show came back in that original draft for the show that they killed Karen and Foggy off screen in between season 3 and Born Again, which would have been horrendous. I think the fact that we at least are going to get a couple episodes with him, have the potential for him to show up in flashbacks, and I've already heard rumors that maybe he's in season 2 as well, which again would probably be flashbacks. I'm much happier with that direction. Yes, it's going to be a gut punch right off the rip, but it is also going to serve as a really great motivation. It's going to make sense as to why Daredevil said a line was crossed. I'm so glad the line was not that Daredevil killed somebody, but I think it's going to be now his struggle with wanting to kill whoever's responsible for Foggy's death.
Because as going in for the blind that I'm doing,
yes,
it's lost any sort of punch that it's going to or may have had, because I knew it's coming.
Of course.
Right. So
I disagree with that.
It's just shock value. It's coming in for shock value.
I disagree with that. So again, because I have to tie everything back to Dexter because it's my obsession right now. There was a character death that I knew about going into the show. There are multiple character deaths that I knew about going into the show. However, when they showed up and when they actually happened, when I got to those points of the series, it still hit hard. And it still had the emotional impact that it was meant to have, as if I went into it blind. And I think for the same reason, like if
were those characters that you were like with seasons long, or were they from that season? Because you got to remember, I'm going in blind and I'm getting in this guy for 2 episodes.
Yeah, you're right. And those were characters that were built up over 4+ seasons.
Yeah.
You know, but I think too, think about like every time I watch Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, take that for example, right? I know at the end of the movie, Anakin's going to turn to the dark side and he's going to become Darth Vader and he's going to get left on the side of the volcano and all that stuff. However, I'm sitting there for 2 hours being like, oh, maybe Anakin's not going to turn evil this time. But even though I know he's going to turn to the dark side at the end of the movie, you know? So I think it's that same sort of thing is like, yes, going into it, we know there is a 99.9% chance that Foggy's going to die. Yes, we're going to be sitting there waiting for it to happen. However, if the show is as good as people say, we're going to get lost in the story and the characters and what is going on. And by the time that event actually happens, it's most likely going to still shock us and still, again, be that emotional gut punch that it's supposed to be. And while, yes, we might have known about it going into it, it's going to still be impactful. And that's kind of how I viewed spoilers recently. Like, I used to be somebody who was so adverse to hearing spoilers. Like, I was like, don't tell me anything, don't tell me anything, don't tell me anything. But now I'm just like, I'm a lot more okay with it. Because as cliche as it is, it's about the journey of watching the show or the movie and not necessarily the destination or the event. It's how did we get to said event? Why does Foggy die? Who kills Foggy? How does that impact Matt? How does that impact Karen? How does that impact Kingpin? You know, what's the effect and the reasoning behind it? That's what I'm interested in, not necessarily the big event itself.
How much got leaked before, right? So, like, was it a season 4 that got leaked and cancelled, or is it the original plan for this, right? Because as you said,
it was the original plan for Born Again. It was when these 2 seasons were combined into 1 season. It was when it was like 18 30-minute episodes or something weird like that.
They said like today that like they had looked at the footage and they called it unwatchable.
Yeah, and I've seen Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio like very respectfully, but also very candidly be like, no, that original version of the show sucked. Like, I'm so like, they're like, we're so glad that we convinced Kevin Feige to like change it.
I do kind of want to see what it was though. Like, I wish I could step to another timeline and just see what
it would be. The lost media, it is lost media. I wonder if it's gonna get leaked one day. I think like even just to see like the premiere of what it was originally supposed to be would be very interesting. Because I think they filmed like 8 or 9 episodes, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that's interesting is some of that is still in here, right?
Yeah.
Like they didn't completely scrap it. They refilmed stuff to fit this new narrative and kept
a lot more Karen.
Worked. Yes.
Right, they brought
like,
Karen and Foggy
no
in.
Karen.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm assuming there was no Punisher. I'm assuming,
Punisher.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So I'm curious.
Is anyone else waiting for Echo to be here? Because my hand is up.
I don't think, at least from what I've heard, I don't think she's in the show, but I could be wrong.
But they've said there's a lot of cameos and characters from the MCU in here.
Do you know who needs to be in here? Jake
Dexter.
Lockley. No, Jake Lockley. Like in the Mr. Knight suit, right?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Trying to kill me.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be
I still think
good.
the perfect cameo is Spider-Man. I know we can't have Spider-Man on TV for some reason, even though it's technically streaming. So, like, you know, is there a?
It's stupid.
You know, it's yeah. What if you have him with such poor CGI that it's categorized as animation?
That's what I said. I said literally make the final 30 seconds an animated show. Just like you don't address it, you don't do anything. It just turns animated just for Spider-Man to show up, and we would just accept it for we can get Spider-Man just for the sake of it. I'd be like, you know what?
You know what they do with Batman? Like put him in the shadows and have like lightning light him up from the back. Just do something like that.
Yeah, or you just like hear a thwip or something like that. I don't know. Like, so okay, what's the legality, right? So you can't show Spider-Man on TV in live action. Can you have Peter Parker? So can Tom Holland still show up as Peter? Just like, you know, we didn't technically have Daredevil in Spider-Man Far From or No Way Home. It was Matt Murdock.
Sure. I wonder,
is that a way around it? As long as they don't call him Spider-Man, if we just have Tom Holland show up, like, is that okay?
Or could you do, like, I would imagine this would be season 2 anyway, right? Just set up Spider-Man 4. is what I would imagine.
Yeah.
But like
yeah.
you could set it up in other ways. Maybe you can have maybe it's a letter, or maybe like someone like could just they wouldn't do this because of where we're at. But like could Zendaya show up and be like, "Hey, Spider-Man needs your help," or something like that. Like could you get away with something like that?
Or he breaks into Oscorp, similar to what we saw in Friendly Neighborhood.
Or
but
could you just
except
have
we
webs?
don't.
Could you have like like webs on a wall and then be like, "What's this?" And it like cuts to like Daredevil will return in Spider-Man 4 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's gotta be. So I made a bunch of like predictions or like things I wanted to ask you about, but I feel like we've kind of gone over some of those already. But
All
I'm
right.
gonna still ask them, and you guys can like put down your like
Okay. Excited.
solid. Like we will look back
Final
at your
predictions.
exact response. First of all, just very basic. Will it be good? Like by the end, will we have a good show? Or will we be like, they kind of ruined Daredevil. We kind of blah, blah, blah.
I would say yes. We're gonna have a
good.
very good show on our hands. I'm excited. I think this is the highest expectation-wise I've gone into a Marvel Disney Plus project. I think it's gonna be the best show since, I would say WandaVision is probably my I would say WandaVision and Moon Knight. WandaVision, Moon Knight, Hawkeye, are my 3 favorites. So I think it's going to be on at least on the same level as those, but I think it's going to be in a complete league of its own. I know that's high expectation there.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be so vastly different and miles ahead of all the other Disney Plus shows just because it has a completely different like creative team and a completely different purpose behind it. Like it's not meant to be a Disney Plus project to set up a movie.
It's in its own little pocket.
It's in its own pocket of the MCU. Yes, it's going to have ties to other things, but it is its own independent story.
And I think the reviews that made me most excited were people that like, it's the first Disney Plus show that feels like it was made for like a network TV, or like it was made like it felt like an actual TV show, and that got me excited. Not to say none of them have, because I think Loki kind of did at times and stuff like that. But,
I hope it's got like production value, at least close to what the Netflix show was. Like
they have the money. They have more money than that show did, so it should, right?
It should. Really, it should, for all intents and purposes, it should. The only thing that is giving me doubts is how some of those trailers looked. Is again, I didn't love the color grading. I didn't love some of the camera angles and things like that, and the CGI looked a little wonky in those trailers. And I know we talked about this before we even went live today, is that is the biggest critique that I've seen so far, is that the CG can be a little bit weird. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they're trying to make it more comic booky. They're trying to make Matt a lot more acrobatic and have him do more comic book Daredevil style things, which I think is a great way to go. However, I just hope it's not at the expense of the really good practical fight choreography that we got in the Netflix show. Like, I still want a one-take hallway scene. I want some very brutal, like, close quarters combat,
Stranger says, I hope this makes sense. I feel like there are going to be, there are people going into the show generally hoping to enjoy it, and there's people going into it with high expectations, ready to trash it. I do think that, there are already people being like, well, this isn't my Daredevil. This isn't the Netflix Daredevil, right? Yeah. And again, I think, like, I even have a little bit of that. Of just like, there is a very high bar, which is why I'm trying to separate it a little bit. I know going in, this will not be Daredevil 2015, because it just can't be. It won't be. It's a too high of a bar, right? Which is why I'm really shocked to see, like, which kind of makes me, I think that's what's making me doubt some of those early reviews, because I've heard people say it's better than season 1 and 2. And as much as I respect people's opinions, that feels very biased. That feels like some of the greatest seasons of TV I've ever seen in my life. I'm not saying it can't be, but you have to give me a bit of, like,
Right.
disinsurance. You know
right.
what I mean?
If they said that it's the best Marvel Disney Plus show,
Yeah.
perfect.
Cool. Perfect. Awesome.
If they say that it can contend with the Netflix show, great. But I think we're going to be hard pressed to, no matter how good
yes,
season 1 of Born Again is, I think you couldn't rank it higher than those Netflix shows. Because it's just a completely different thing.
Yeah, it would be. It's just a very high bar to set.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's
and also
impossible, but
right,
like,
and also we're only getting 9 episodes versus 13.
Sure, which could be. I mean, could be better for it. Like I know,
Right, because some people did say there was some filler in.
Not Daredevil, but some of the shows. I think Jessica. Like I just watched Jessica Jones season 2. I like it more than most people, but it does drag. It is kind of boring. Sometimes some of these shows maybe could benefit from a 10-episode season over 13 or whatever.
I think 10 to 15 is the sweet spot. I really do. I think think about Superman and Lois had 15 episodes a season for most of their seasons. Yeah. I'm watching Dexter right now. Those are 12 episode seasons. I think that is perfect. A lot of Netflix shows, 13 is really good. 10 episodes for a lot of the more recent like revival shows and things like that. I think that is really good as well.
I also think it's going to help. Like 13 is a lot on a binge, right? It's really hard to be like, here's 13, watch it right now or you're spoiled, right? Like I'm binging them all right now and 13's like, oh, that's a lot to watch in the short amount of time I have.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's interesting.
I don't know. I think anything less than 10 though is a little rough. And I think 9 is going to be okay. But think about it, like Invincible is only 8 episodes. A couple of Disney Plus shows were like 6 episodes.
A lot of them were, yeah.
And some of them were like weird numbers, like 7. You know.
Quick question about episode count. Sorry, just while you're on it. So like, are there any Disney Plus shows that you think would that were good but would have been like Daredevil perfect if they had more episode count and the show Bible going forward? So like, if another do you think there are any Disney Plus shows that would deserve getting a second chance given the new parameters going forward?
I think every single one of those shows, I think every single one would have benefited from more episodes and a showrunner.
Yeah.
Oh, outside of Loki, which I think had the perfect amount for me.
Yeah, I think Loki was really good for what it was.
I think Falcon needed one more. I think She-Hulk could have done 13 episodes. I think
WandaVision actually was a good count as well.
That was good. Yeah. I think Miss Marvel could have been, it would have been a different kind of show, but that could have been a 22 episode season. Just like how it's formulated, right? Like have some filler in there to grow out the characters and its world. Like Moon Knight could have had 0.
Wow.
Hey.
Not Marvel, but I think Mandalorian needed more episodes a season. Longer episodes at least. Like please Disney, no more of these like 30-minute live action episodes.
Yeah.
Like that is rough when like I turned on an episode of The Mandalorian and it was like, all right, this week's episode is 34 minutes. I'm like, I 4 minutes of that is credits.
Yeah, I think, and also Daredevil, I think they have easily the longest episode counts I've seen for Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
They're all around 45 to 50 minutes.
Yeah, between 40. Yeah. What are these first couple? I can't remember. Did I save this or not? Let me see. I hear you scroll. I hear you scrolling too. Hold on.
I was trying to find the official somewhere. Episode. Oh, here it is. Hold on. Let me share this really quickly.
I found my Invincible memes.
So yeah, episode 1, 58 minutes. Episode 2, 47 minutes. Those drop the same day. That's almost 2 hours of Daredevil tomorrow, which is crazy. 44, pretty good. 52, pretty good. 39, which is the shortest.
Only one that I'm a little
But it's airing with episode. Is it episode 6? I think
If it's
5
two,
and,
if it's 2 a week, so 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 and 6, and then
it's
are they
not 2 a
dropping?
week. It is it has a weird thing because episode 1 and 2 are together, and then I think it's 3, 4 are weekly, and then 5 and 6 will drop at once. And
But
then
then
5
7, 8, 9. Is it 7, 8, 9 drop all at once?
No.
What was
That's
the
weekly
release
going
schedule?
forward. It's
Oh, it is
going forward.
weekly going forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only 2 that are going together is episode 1 and 2, and I think 5 and 6.
Oh wait, what?
I don't know why they're doing it.
That's so weird. Hold on.
It's like mid-season, they for some reason are dropping 2 episodes.
Daredevil Born Again release schedule. There's no way.
I don't understand.
Let's see Forbes. Episode 1 and 2, March 4th. Episode 3, March 11th. Episode 4, March 18th. 5 and 6, March 25th.
Yeah.
Episode 7, April 1st. Episode 8, April 8th. Episode 9, April 15th. Why?
I don't get it. Do you think they're trying
That's
to be
so
done before
weird.
Thunderbolts? Do you think that's it? Because that's in May.
Maybe.
I don't see why you have to
Or
do
maybe
that,
they're
though.
just not. Maybe they're not. It's so weird. It's almost like they're not. They're not confident that 5 and 6 can stand on their own. Maybe, like 1 and 2 dropping at the same time. That makes sense.
Makes sense.
But then
Yeah.
to go weekly for 2 weeks. No, 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then drop 2 episodes together, and then weekly for the rest of it. It's like. It's almost like episodes 5 and 6 could have been one episode. Like it could have been one long episode. If they're dropping it together, at that point, might as well have just done 8 episodes with
Right.
episode 5
2-hour
being,
episode.
like an hour and 15-minute episode.
I can even get what Agatha did, because Agatha had 8 and 9 together. And so they
Right.
had episode 1 and 2, and then 8 and 9. And like I can even do that because it's like, oh, it's a 2-hour final. Okay, I can get
Right,
that.
that makes sense.
What is
but a
in episode
2-hour
5 and 6?
A
that you
2-hour,
have-
like that's like a 2-hour mid-season, but not
Yeah.
even mid-season. That's like a 2/3 season finale.
It's weird. It feels like they're afraid to let shows go on more than 6 to 7 weeks, which
Right.
I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little weird. And it
Okay.
definitely kind of confuses it confuses the viewers. Like for us, we're out here, we've got to know when these episodes are dropping because we're covering them on the stream, with our own videos, that sort of thing. But for people that just genuinely just normally watch the show, it was already enough of a weird change for them to go from dropping episodes at like 3 a.m. to 9 p.m. But
but
then
they
now,
can't make up their minds with that.
right, and then they're gonna drop 2 episodes, and then it's all
People
over
kinda
the place.
miss an
That's the
episode.
viewership is gonna be weird. Like I think viewership numbers are not going to. They're gonna be at the peak this week, but it's gonna drop off drastically because people are going to be confused.
Sure. I do want to get through some of these just
Yeah.
before we can wrap this up here soon. This one we already kind of talked about. Call out 2 characters that you think will appear in this season. What are your 2 theories?
Ooh.
So, like, if they appear this season, be like, I called it. They're in the season. They don't both have to appear, but like 2 characters that you think would appear, they can like interchange with each other.
Jessica Jones for sure.
Okay.
I think that's kind of an easy one.
Okay.
Maybe what's her name from that's leading the Thunderbolts? Valentina.
Oh.
I think that's another pretty
Approach
safe-
Punisher
Yeah,
or
I
Bullseye.
feel somebody. I feel like that's kind of a safe bet. We're in New York. We know that she's bought Avengers Tower and stuff like that. I feel like that's a pretty safe setup sort of thing. And I think the Jessica Jones of it all to potentially set up the rest of the Defenders coming back.
Yeah. How about you, Darth? I know you're not you haven't seen the OG show, but any.
I'm still like a big supporter of Phase 4 and 5, right?
Mhm.
So I'm gonna say, stick to your guns while trying to marry everything, and put Echo and She-Hulk in there.
I'd like that. I like that. She-Hulk would be fun. I hope if if because they had made a post about like, oh, like, you know, semi-separating it from She-Hulk, which boo. I hope if she's not in this season, she's in next season. I hope they give her something. I'm gonna agree with your Jessica Jones, Taz. I'm gonna go Jessica Jones, and I think that's how you end the season. I think it's a cliffhanger with her.
Okay.
Like I
like
think
that.
it's like Matt's like defeated a bad guy. He's back at he goes back to his apartment. He's like, oh, he gets to relax or whatever, and then we just see like a light turn on, and it's like her bloody on like a couch, being like, I need your help or something, and it, whatever.
Yeah.
I think Jessica Jones. I'm gonna say Bucky. I'm gonna say Bucky because he was rumored to be part of that original show, that like 18 episode season.
I didn't know that.
So if they filmed something with Sebastian Stan, I don't see them cutting that, right? I don't see them, especially
which could still then be Thunderbolt setup.
Yes, it could be a little. Maybe there's a thing. Maybe he punches a traffic light or something. He has to go to court or something, like something weird. Just like a nice little tiny cameo. Like they've said, there's going to be a bunch of MC appearances. I think that could be kind of fun. Okay. This one's going to be very interesting for Darth. Do we think people will be able to hop in without a problem, without seeing the original show? Do you think this will work as a jumping on point for fans?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I think it's going to stand well by itself, but I think it's going to be too intrinsically tied to what came before that it won't make any sense as a standalone.
Yeah. I'm really, really curious to talk about the show with you and your experience as almost, not typically, but in this scenario, a casual audience, someone who hasn't seen that show, and what you think of it just on the basis of this. And I don't have it here, but I'm curious if we will end the season, maybe me and Taz don't like it because we love Daredevil, and maybe you love it because you haven't seen it, right? That might be an experience. Will our bars be too high to enjoy it maybe as much as you, which could be really interesting.
I think it's going to be like, I think it's going to be perfectly fine to watch for people like Darth who haven't seen the original series. I don't think you're going to be missing out on a whole ton of lore. Anything that you need to understand the show will be explained. I think that's fairly easy to grasp. I feel like, as far as that goes, like, they wouldn't leave fans in the dark, especially, again, making it a season 1 of a show versus a season 4. Like, if this was Daredevil season 4, then seasons 1 through 3 are required watching. But the fact that it is Daredevil Born Again season 1, I would say the only things that are required watching for this would be the end of Hawkeye and then maybe Echo.
Yeah.
And
like
Spider-Man, and Spider-Man No Way, Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, that's maybe the only things. But I think your viewing of the show for fans like us, people who have watched the original series, it will be enhanced. There's going to be callbacks. There are going to be references. There are going to be characters that show up. Like, if you don't know the Netflix series, you don't know John Bernthal's Punisher, right? Like, you don't know the history that Matt and Frank have. Like, you wouldn't know the history that he has with the other Defenders, or, like, kind of Darth was mentioning, you won't have that emotional connection to Foggy when he dies, or to Karen, or to any of these other characters. I think actually I'm gonna throw this character in there as a bonus. Rosario Dawson's character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she would be a very easy one to show up, especially because she's Ahsoka. Like, all the Disney Plus shows are, connected in that sort of way. So I feel like she's kind of a...
I don't know how many of the other shows you've watched, but, like, I was surprised how much of a role she had in all the Disney. Like all the Netflix shows.
She showed up in everything.
That was
for the most part.
That was, like, the most I felt connected to, like a cinematic universe. Like, I felt like no other cinematic universe had ever felt so connected.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go through some of these predictions really quickly. We have to get through these, I know.
Yeah.
This one we can answer really quickly. Will it be more violent than the original? Because that's what they keep saying. It'll be more violent. It'll be more bloody. It'll be no whatever.
No. I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna have the same spirits of the original, but I don't think the action, at least for me, is going to live up to the choreography of the original show. Like, unless we get a one-take hallway scene that is better than that one from season 1, it's not on that same level. And I know that that's a very high bar to have, but that's the bar.
Here's what I'll say though. You don't watch Echo, right, Taz?
No, I haven't.
Have you seen the Daredevil fight in Echo?
I haven't, but I need to watch at least that
tonight. And honestly, after we're done here, maybe we'll play it in our back room. I think it's right on par with Daredevil. Like that Daredevil fight scene in that show, unbelievably good. And in some ways I like it slightly more in some aspects because he's so acrobatic. Like, he is so comic booky. He's jumping here to here and here and here. And that's where I want them to thrive, right? I want them to be like, okay, how do we improve upon it? Doing things differently than we did the first time around. Yeah. So, no, absolutely.
That would actually be perfect. Daredevil gets a huge buff in hallways. In Marvel Rivals.
Echo's actually a really good show. Sadly, most people. Me and Darth talked about it last year. I loved what was good in Echo. Like, what worked in that show was some of my favorite stuff in any Disney Plus show. It was great. It just didn't feel finished. It felt like they just didn't. Felt like it was missing.
I got turned away from it from all the bad reviews. I know I shouldn't have let that sway my opinion, but I was so busy. I was so busy at the time, and I just was like, "Oh, Daredevil pops up for what, 5 minutes?" Right? Like, he wasn't really as big of a player in it as I thought he was going to be. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, anything that I need to know, they'll recap it anyway.
Like, it's not important.
Out. Yeah,
but
it's kind of like a little side quest, sort of like
there's some really good Kingpin scenes in that show. Like, there's some really well done scenes. I would honestly just recommend. I like the show, but maybe later on, just like rewatching just watch through some of those.
Yeah, I mean, I think after Born Again, I think if I'm still on that Daredevil kick, I'll probably want to watch it. Yeah.
I can't. It sucks because I think in many ways it should be the best Disney Plus show. They're just missing key competitors. I want to see that show where they were allowed to finish all their episodes. They didn't have to stop filming.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. I think that might have been why too, is because I was like, oh, this isn't even a finished product.
Yeah, I think they were supposed to have 7 and they had 5. Like, there was so many missing pieces. It's like, give them give them a season 2, give them a showrunner, give them
or maybe at least finish her story in Born Again season 2, maybe.
Absolutely. Okay. Really quickly, we had to get through these. Has Matt killed? Has Matt crossed that line? We've talked about this many times, but official prediction, put it down. Has he killed?
No, not yet, but he's strongly considering it after the events of episode 2.
Okay. I agree with you. I don't think he's killed. Although, because I'm currently rewatching season 3, and I will say, I think that's my one thing I'm concerned about. I don't know how I feel about them doing that story a third time, right? They did the, should I kill in season 1. He did the should I kill in season 3. Do I want to see it a third time where he's having this crisis? And I just don't want him to be like Ben Affleck and throw people on the train tracks and not care about killing people. Yeah. that was such a stark contrast. I don't want him to kill. I don't want him to cross that line, but I don't know. Just do it differently. Give me something that we didn't get in these previous 3. Yeah. Okay. Will they reference the Defenders? Will we hear about what Jessica's doing, what Luke Cage is doing, what Iron Fist is doing? I think yes, and your entrance to that is Punisher. Is maybe he's like, hey, Red, where are your other friends? Does he know about his other friends though?
I mean, yeah, shouldn't he?
I don't think so. Like he wasn't in Defenders, and from my understanding, they didn't really like outside of Luke Cage and Iron Fist. I don't think any of them like linked back up. Like after the building exploded, they all kind of just like,
yeah, I guess you're right.
All right, we're done.
Everybody kind of
You know
went
what I
their
mean?
separate ways. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I think Jessica Jones is easy because like
Yeah.
you could just be like, oh, I hired this PI, Jessica Judy, something like that. You know, like you do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You like for like Luke Cage, you can reference like the hero of Harlem or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think easily you could have references, whether they show up or not. Like, I think, like you said, is the best bet for anybody else other than Punisher showing up is as a teaser at the end of the season.
Yeah, and Jessica Jones, I think, is the easiest to do that.
Yeah, or maybe it's that two-parter. But maybe that two-parter is like the Punisher arc or something.
Could be. Okay. This one's interesting. This one's fun, and there's a lot of comments. I do want to go through all of these at the end here, but I want to just get through these really quickly. This one's fun. Who survived the blip? Who was in the blip, and who was left behind? Or will they even address it? Because I think it's important that they do address it. What'd you say, Darth?
I think you're right.
It's just Karen and Foggy, like just them trying to keep the law firm going.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah, that would be interesting, actually. And then maybe it kind of justifies, like, Foggy's death a little bit more. Like, he's been around a little bit longer. Like, yeah, that would actually be interesting. Oh, I think also if we address that, too, maybe Kingpin survived it, and that's why he's where he is.
When was Echo taking place? Because Daredevil was in that.
That's true. I don't know, actually. I'm not sure when that.
Well, I mean, Hawkeye was also post Endgame,
Yeah, no, but some of it was before, some of it was after. Like there was a bit before, during, or during the snap that was in Echo. So it'd be interesting to see at what stage their fight was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be curious to see. Because I do think... Okay, this is one thing I want to say really quickly. My not concern, but I think the number one thing I need to see is I need them to really break down how Kingpin got to this place.
Right, his rise to power.
Because where we end it, there shouldn't be any reason why he should be able to run for mayor. Right?
Yeah, like especially like where they end him off in Hawkeye is like how does he how did we get here?
Right.
And Hawkeye was only a few years ago.
There's a lot of
in our timeline, but it was like I think it was supposed to be what 2026.
Yeah, we're in 2026 right now, like in the MCU timeline.
Yeah.
So again, like you said, like during the snap, I like that idea. I think that's the best way to justify it. Is like, I don't think that's the case. I think that's misproven by Echo, right? But if that's the case, that makes a lot more sense to me because maybe a lot of the people who distrusted him was gone. They don't know him as well. Maybe there's just a crisis of like we're desperate for change. We need something. And he's this powerful figure. Like, I need them to justify how he got here. Did he get here through criminal, like, ways? Did he, like, break the system? That's the way we're going? They need to explain that. And make it believable.
Well, I think maybe it has something to do, too, with all the other players within the season, like White Tiger and all the other, like, the vigilantes. Sure. Like, I think we talked about that a lot. It wasn't last week, maybe a couple weeks ago, that, like, maybe having all of these vigilantes out there, you know, Punisher's back on the loose, that sort of thing. And Wilson Fisk kind of presents himself as the only one who can solve that vigilante problem.
Sure.
And then that's maybe where some camaraderie comes in there between him and Matt. Like, maybe Matt is sometimes it's better the devil you know versus the devil you don't, right? So Matt is the antagonist for Fisk that he is willing to put up with to get rid of his current problems, and then he'll take care of Matt afterwards. Sure. So an end or a means to an end.
Yeah, for sure. And then my final one.
Yeah.
And then we'll go through some of these comments, and then we'll head out of here because I know we're already heading on 3 hours. I'm so sorry, but
That's good.
and let's put it in stone. Will Foggy die in the first 2 episodes? Oh no, do you know what? Will Foggy die? Just like period
Yes.
blank. By the end of
Yes.
season 1, will Foggy be dead?
Yes, he will be dead by the end of episode 2.
I'm gonna be a contrary now, and I'm gonna say no. I think it's a giant misdirect. And
Okay.
a lot of this is wishful thinking. A lot of this is me being like, they can't do this. I think either it's been a giant misdirect, or by the end of the season, it'd be like, we faked his death, or he's in a coma or something.
They brought him back. Oh, speaking of people who they should bring back or need to bring back, Elektra.
That's also on my list. I think if Jessica Jones is gonna show up again, it's Elektra. I think it's one of those two as their final cliffhanger.
Didn't Daredevil have his own Elektra? Like, not. Or which one are we talking?
There's Elektra inside the show.
Yeah, the Elektra from season 2.
Okay.
And we haven't seen her, I think, since Defenders, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
not
because
to spoil for Darth, but like we don't.
She died,
know...
and then she came back, and then she died again, and then.
Yeah, we don't know if she's alive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me read through some of your guys' comments, and if you guys have any last things you want to say before we head off here, drop them. Again, thank you for all the comments. I think everyone's just really excited for Daredevil, which I think is great. I think we're all excited. I don't remember the last time I've been this excited for a new show.
This is going to be really fun.
Jose says, "I'm sorry, but if Foggy dies in Born Again, I will be pissed off and wouldn't be fair. Hopefully, there's a theory." That Foggy gets injured only.
I think even if he dies in present day, we're still gonna get the actor on the show. Like I said, as there's rumors that he's coming back for season 2, I think we're gonna still see some flashbacks and stuff. I think maybe Matt will have some kind of maybe hallucinations or whatever, that sort of thing. Like I think they're gonna find a way for him to still play a role on the series, even if he's not alive in present day.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know if I fully said this. I would be pissed if they killed him off permanently.
I've come to terms with it. Like when I first heard that rumor, I was like, no, like they can't do that. But like after I've seen after I've sat with what those story implications can be, and where we could potentially go from there in the future, I think it's still the best option. I think it's a way better option than killing him off screen.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Okay, so
because I hated that.
That would be ridiculous. I can't.
I hated that.
Here's the thing that would piss me off is they had said I think it was like the showrunners had said that like, this thing was already set in motion. We couldn't really, it was already in the process. I was like, so unset it in motion. Like you have the power. Like the only reason you wouldn't do that if you really didn't want him dead was because of budget and money. And it's like, just reshoot the show at that point versus killing a core element of your story. If that's the only reason why you're not bringing it back. Like if it's only for the price of it, I would be pissed off. I really would. Yeah. There's a comic run where they think he's dead, but secretly Vanessa has him for leverage. That'd be cool. That'd be fun. Like again, I'd be completely fine if everyone thinks he's dead, but end of the season he's like in a bunker somewhere or something. I'd be down for that.
It's like, I'm alive.
Although if you don't see a body, that's like clearly like superhero 101. You know what I mean?
Yeah. However, there's a good possibility that his death is very apparent and very brutal.
If it's a scroll, can we get a scroll up in here?
No, not again. Daredevil, King of Hallway Scenes. Yes,
absolutely. Jose said Echo was actually a good show. Oh yeah, I already read that one. I think a lot of Marvel Disney Plus shows issues honestly come from advertising that didn't pay off. They advertised Echo as a New York crime show, and it showed almost every Daredevil. Yeah, I mean, I get why they showed off all that stuff as well, because I think that was what was going to bring people in the door was the Kingpin stuff, that the Daredevil stuff. But yeah, heading out. Hope everyone has a good evening. You too. Or showing Daredevil in the trailer of She-Hulk and then making us. That was also a big thing. That was also that was pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
Or in Hawkeye's case, I actually think they did the opposite, where they were too afraid to show us, which I think was a detriment to the show. Is like we have to make him this big thing. It's like, no, just make him the main villain of the season. Don't do all these secrety things to save.
Right. Oh, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. And wasn't there like a deleted scene that we were supposed to see him in an earlier episode, and then we didn't? I can't remember. But
yeah, no, like there's a lot. I love Hawkeye.
Me too.
But it's a messy show. There's a lot that needed in there.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, as a grounded show, they'll ever tackle magic? Like, because magic's a big part of the MCU, and like he wasn't that far off of an episode that had magic in She-Hulk. So
you mean Daredevil?
Do you think it's something he can intersect with?
I mean, is Iron Fist magic? Iron Fist is magic, right?
Kinda. Not magic, but more mystical, I guess is the best way to put it. I would say not magic on the level of like Doctor Strange magic, but more so like street level magic.
So the hand isn't magic, right? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, so I would say like street level magic could be a thing. So like Midnight Suns sort of thing.
Sure. I mean, I could see it. Like, I'm not against it. Like, I know. I think that's the reason I'm excited for Ironheart is because that whole thing is like science versus magic and what the implications of that is. I think it's fun. Okay, let me run through these because I know a lot of people are commenting. And thank you so much, guys. This is awesome. I wonder if we'll ever see Echo again. Maybe she'll appear in Daredevil, Born Again in later seasons. I 100% think Jessica Jones will appear in season 2. I agree. I like to see Echo. I'd like to see Jessica Jones. I think both of those are. I hope they weren't. I mean, honestly, like Echo's ratings weren't that bad. To the point, at one point in time, I thought it may have got a season 2, just because the ratings, because of Kingpin and Daredevil, were pretty good, from my understanding. And 2, it's cheap. It was the cheapest Disney Plus. It was really, really cheap, I think. Jose said, I think Daredevil will break his no-kill rule, only if Foggy or Karen dies. I hope not.
But then, like, again, that doesn't become justified. Just because he's upset about something. The guy's a lawyer. Like, isn't that more egregious?
Yeah, in like we mentioned earlier too, like Darren said, is if he goes through with breaking that no-kill rule, then that just makes the struggle in season 1 and season 3 kind of null and void at that point.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's okay for him to struggle with that. I think it's okay for him to want to cross that line.
Constantly?
But I think not necessarily constantly, but to
like,
once again.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Just you said it's been a problem. Do you know what I mean? Like in my head, like once you've decided that action. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, things are going, like, say for example, you're like, oh, I'm not gonna drink, right? But then someone's like, hey, we're going out, and you're like, oh God, I really want to. Do you know what I mean? Like, I understand there are some things that are gonna test that, but you set that boundary, you set that limit.
Right.
So just because something tests you in your life, the guy is a devout Catholic, right? And a lawyer. Like, if anything, his resolve should be the strongest of all.
Yeah. Maybe it's that he's got maybe the moral dilemma of, like, Punisher's in here. So maybe he is okay with Frank going after and killing whoever killed Foggy. Like, and maybe that's the moral dilemma. Like, I won't do it myself, but I'm not going to stop you from killing this guy who may or may not deserve it. But again, it's that same struggle. I think I agree with you. I would be much happier if Matt is like, a line was crossed, a terrible thing happened, but I am Daredevil, I am Matt Murdock, I am a lawyer. I cannot cross that line, and I will not cross that line, and I will find every legal way I can to bring this person to justice, whether that be as a lawyer or as a vigilante, but I will not stoop to that level. I will not cross that line. I've been down that road before, and I know it only ends in pain. I think that's what we need to see.
Because there's enough to deal with Kingpin being in charge that there's going to be enough systemic oppression and things that are in a gray area because of the authority that he has and some kind of like allowances that he might have, but still will push past it and be a criminal, but he can't prove. You know what I mean? Like, that's big enough that it could be dark and oppressive because you got nowhere to turn, nowhere to trust. Like, the guy rules the city that you're trying to save. You know what I mean?
I do.
While saying you're the villain.
I do think it's really interesting because, like, I don't want to spoil that OD show for you, Darth, but like so much of Matt's struggle with killing comes down to Fisk, right? It's a story about like, well, I have this no kill rule. I am proven time and time again that this man is hurting people because I am not strong enough to do what needs to be done. You know, that's like that's always his struggle. I think it's funny after what he had to do to him at the end of season 3. He's like, "You will not ruin me." He's back a third time. He's back again.
This is interesting, right? So does New York have capital punishment?
I don't believe so, no.
Right. So at that point, what are you talking about, right? Because not you, like him specifically, right? Because then he's going on like old world justice, right? Because if there's no legal way for his life to end, then you have no right taking it. Whether he's doing this, that, or the other, like if you're on the side of quote unquote good and prevailing justice, you can't just be taking lives out here because he's slick with the law or has like a team of lawyers that you're not good enough against. You know what I mean? Like you can't just jump around the chessboard and just start attacking pieces. You know, it don't work that way.
Sure.
You know
Yeah.
Sure. No, and again, like that's the moral dilemma that he faces, where it's like, I
question him having it.
Like, I have the power to save lives. Like, I could save lives right now, but I also have such a respect and an honor for the system that I'm a part of that I can't take myself there, which Taz is right, where if they go down that path, if they do that, he does kill someone, that kind of ruins the journey he's gone on for 3 seasons through the first 3 shows.
But again, like, I question him having that, like, quandary in the first place, right? Because everything about him screams the opposite of cold-blooded murderer. Do you know what I mean? Whether through justice or not, that is what it is. You're meeting a man to duke it out until one of you hits the other one in the head so much that the other one just stops fighting back. That's it.
I'll be curious to hear your thoughts, because again, I don't want to go into too much spoilers for the main show, but it's like he has a crisis of like the system of like this system isn't working. This system, this impossible obstacle that no matter how much I do with the law, how much we fight for it, it's failing us time and time again. Which is an incredibly well-written arc and stuff like that. Either way, let's get through some of these.
It's interesting then fighting for a failing system. Especially like if the system is so fundamentally flawed that it can't succeed on its natural merit.
Yeah.
Then why would you fight for it?
Sure. It's tough. It's definitely very tough. I think Defenders will show up in season 2. I'm hyped for the Punisher presentation next year. I am also excited for that. That's very exciting.
Yeah. Dude. John Bernthal Punisher 100%.
Absolutely. We kind of already did this a little bit, but what character are you most excited to see in Born Again? So I guess out of the characters that we know are in Born Again, which one are you most excited for? Yeah?
Kingpin. Always Kingpin. I love Kingpin. like the only thing, like everybody, I need the physical size of what's in the comics. We got as much as we can with that with Vincent D'Onofrio and camera trickery,
Yeah.
and like that's my only tiny thing. But unless you're like hiring like a sumo wrestler or something, I don't know how you're gonna get that. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like we're doing everything we can about that. So other than that, like he is a perfect Kingpin. Like it's a tremendous casting. And
Yeah.
one I would not have seen. Like it's such like an out of the box casting that
He's
like
fantastic.
it's
I almost couldn't
fantastic.
see anybody else play that character in live action now.
Yes, I will agree. I will
It's gonna
agree.
be
Yeah,
hard.
he has
Yeah.
the small bits that I've seen in like YouTube clips or in Echo or Hawkeye. Um, his depth and range with the character is incredible, and
Yeah.
he's a great character actor anyway. Just
And
a
you've
great
you've
actor in general.
got to then you've got to see his like origin and everything in the original Daredevil series.
Yeah, oh yeah, you'll love.
If you like what
Yeah.
you've seen in just the last couple little projects that he's been in,
Mhm.
dude, you're in for a treat.
Here's the best pitch I could give to you. Daredevil isn't just a Daredevil show. At least in season 1 and 3, it is
Yeah.
a Daredevil and Kingpin show. Kingpin is just as important to the show as
Mhm.
Daredevil is. They are
Yep.
that both, and we're seeing
They're
season
two sides of the
Yes.
same coin.
we're seeing both of their perspectives, and it's like a train, and they run into each other at the end of the season, and it's like by the end you're like, but I love both. I don't know who to root for. This is
Yeah.
crazy.
You know,
Um,
do you think the new show will do the same or be entirely Matt focused?
You know what? I will say I think the marketing. It feels like they're marketing both. Like it seems like
Yeah, it does. I
like
think it's gonna. I hope they continue that for sure.
Kingpin to me, and like I know the marketing doesn't feel like the villain of the season. He feels like a character who is a villain, but within the show. Like he kind of feels like a Tobias Whale, where he's just like he's there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
To answer Johnson's question though, and again, I'm so sorry, but I think it's John Bernthal for me, just
Same.
because
Same.
it would be Matt, it would be Kingpin, but we've technically seen them a couple times over the last couple years, and Hawkeye, Spider-Man, both Spider-Mans, I guess, stuff like that. Hawkeye, Echo. So we haven't seen John Bernthal, and I still have not seen season 2 of Punisher. But I think it's John Bernthal. I think that's exciting.
Yeah.
Or Foggy too. Foggy too. I'm very excited for the little bit we might get of him. Well, if real life have taught me anything, it's I'm sorry. If real life events has taught me anything, it's that anything can happen no matter how bad someone can be. That's fair. That's fair. Marvel would be dumb to kill him off, right? We'll see.
Maybe it's the smartest thing they can do.
Maria says hi to Foggy. Oh God. I'm still pissed they killed Maria Hill off.
Yeah, that was so random.
Will I be on Nerdcast tonight? Probably not. Probably not, because I gotta finish binging Daredevil season 2. That will be my night.
I've got to make dinner and watch Dexter.
There are a lot of deleted scenes for Hawkeye. Yeah, there was a lot of deleted scenes.
Yeah.
22 hours away. How will season 1 end, I wonder? That's a good final question. I mean, I already gave my pitch. I think it should be Jessica Jones showing up.
I think that it's not going to end like a normal end of a season. I think it's going to be very open-ended.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get to the end
They
of a
know about it.
chapter.
Yeah.
But the fact that we know that it's already set up for a second season, we know that the original pitch for the show is to be a drawn-out version, like combining these two seasons together into one season. I think it's going to be fairly open-ended. I think Kingpin is still going to be, at the top of his game, but I think we're going to, take out a couple of those low-level bosses. Matt is going to fully, kind of...
Take them use.
Become actually, like, born again, fully embrace the Daredevil mantle yet again, and kind of find his place in the world. and how not only can he coexist with the Kingpin at the level that he's at, but also how does he fit into the puzzle pieces with the other vigilantes and heroes that surround him on that street level.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
which is where your defender's pitch comes in.
I think you really have to cement him as the Daredevil almost from the comics officially, because I never felt like he was fully there, right? He was always having a like, what is Daredevil? Who is Daredevil? What does he mean to his city throughout that run? Which is fantastic. It's great. And it felt like at the end of season 3, we were there. It was like, okay, he's found that balance.
Yeah.
But now we've taken that away from him again a little bit, which I'm okay with. But by the end of season 1, I do think you have to be like, okay, this is him going forward. He's not going to drop the mantle, a third time? You know what I mean? Like, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, as much as I love season 1 and season 3, the reason season 2 is my favorite is because he's in the Daredevil suit the whole time. Please do not go back. As much as iconic as it is, please do not go back to the black suit. Like the black suit with the with the Under Armour t-shirt and cargo pants. Like, do not go back to that. But I don't think we are. Like, the fact that we have all these different Daredevil suits and he's worn the yellow suit. They gave him the darker suit in what was it in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Like, I think we're gonna get to see him in all these suits, which is great. And the new suit, the deep red, looks really good too.
That's good. I agree. But yeah, with that being said, we got to get out of here. I've been forcing these guys to talk to me for 3 hours.
Oh my gosh, it's been 3 hours.
I know. I'm so sorry.
I could have gotten through 3 episodes of Dexter. What's going on?
But really quickly, starting with you, Taz, where can people find you? Where are you at? What's going on?
YouTube.com/ToxicTaz.
Amazing. How about you, Darth?
Just YouTube, TikTok, Darth Bunyan. Come check me out.
Amazing. We'll be back next week for Daredevil, Reacher, Invincible. It'll be a good week. Check out the pipeline this Thursday. We're doing our Oscars episode. We're going to talk about the best pictures. Should be fun. I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye.